Community Shield, live from Wembley Stadium, the home of football.
Headed forward for Chelsea, and turned in for Chelsea. Early doors, Victor Moses has scored the first goal of the brand new season.
It's the Premier League champions against the FA Cup winners.
The blue moon rises over the rest of the Premier League once again.
Cesar Azpilicueta and Gary Cahill, who lift the FA Cup for Chelsea.
English football is back.
Now De Bruyne's got another shot! The breakthrough! Kevin De Bruyne!
Up goes Christensen.
Follow-up shot is in, they've done it, Chelsea! It's Giroud again! Oh my goodness me, what a comeback!
The Community Shield, live.
We are back. Welcome to TalkSport's coverage of Chelsea against Manchester City from Wembley Stadium. I'm your host, Tom Rennie. Alongside me is the former Charlton, Wimbledon and Southampton striker, Jason Ewell. You're listening to the 2018 Community Shield Live. And the curtain is officially being raised on the top flight season today as the FA Cup winners from May, Chelsea, take on the team that smashed the league to smithereens with such ease last campaign in Manchester City. City made the toughest league in world football look like a 3-year-old competing in the UFC last season. It wasn't that the others weren't trying, they just never stood a chance. Chelsea have made their change to try and catch up. Out with Antonio Conte, who looked like a dead man walking long before that FA Cup triumph here in May. In comes the enigmatic Maurizio Sarri, whose Napoli side pushed all-conquering Juventus all the way last season and played in a style that might finally put a smile on the face of Roman Abramovich should it be emulated in London. Nobody's retained the Premier League since 2009. Maybe nobody has won it in such style, so the test has never been greater for Pep Guardiola, who says fear of failure has left him starving for more success this season. Today won't give us many indications of how this season will go, with so many missing after their World Cup exploits, but it will show us if the hunger to win is still there, whatever the level of competition. Let's talk about the team news for this game, shall we? Of course, as I mentioned, many players still not back from World Cup duty. Very interesting team for Chelsea. For the first time in a few years, they've gone back to 4 at the back. Of course, Antonio Conte's favourite formation was a 3. Willy Caballero starts in goal for them. David Luiz, remember him? He's back in the starting lineup. Ross Barkley also gets the nod in the centre of midfield alongside the controversial Jorginho, who, if rumour is to be believed, was only a few minutes away from joining Manchester City. So here's your Chelsea team. Caballero in goal. Back 4 for the Blues of Alonso, Rudiger, Luis and Azpilicueta. Midfield trio, Ross Barkley, Jorginho and Cesc Fabregas. Pedro, who's just signed a new contract, on one wing. On the other is Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's really impressed in pre-season. Alvaro Morata is up front. Ben Drinkwater, Moses, Abraham, Zappacosta, Willian, Christensen and the young goalkeeper Bulka. For Manchester City, Claudio Bravo gets the nod in goal. Young Phil Foden gets a start in midfield. Riyad Mahrez makes his debut for Manchester City. And also, 2 guys who were in the semi-final of the World Cup a few weeks ago. Turns out they're okay to play. Kyle Walker and John Stones, both fresh and starting. Raheem Sterling not involved in the squad. He's having a longer break from the World Cup. So it's Bravo in goal. Back 4 left to right of Mendy, who makes a start for the first time in over a year following his injury last season. Laporte, Stones and Walker complete the back 4. Bernardo Silva, Fernandinho and Phil Foden 3 in midfield. Riyad Mahrez, Leroy Sané and Sergio Aguero up front. Bench is Kompany, Gundogan, Otamendi, Ederson, Jesus, Diaz and Claudio Gomez, the young defensive midfielder brought in this summer. Jason Ewell, you enjoyed your time off from football? Do you have time to go on holiday? Quick weekend?
No, I did, surprisingly, and it's good to be back. You said off air, it seems like we haven't been away for too long, I think, because the World Cup sort of got us through the break. And looking forward to the game, if you thought it would just be a dead rubber, testimonial, boring game.
It sometimes can be. It's very hard. It's first game of the season. Yeah. Sarri's only been in charge for 2.5 weeks.
But then, like I said, they've got something to prove, isn't it? Because the window's still open till Thursday. There's still time for him to get players in that he wants to get. And similar to Guardiola, he wants to win trophies. So it's a case of everyone's still got something to prove to their managers.
Loads of questions about the teams, which we'll get to, but let's start with the managers in this section of the programme, and let's talk about Maurizio Sarri. Never won a trophy, a major trophy in his career, approaching 60 years of age. He's come in bringing that kind of brash style of football and maybe brash style of personality as well. But don't Chelsea want to win things at all costs? And if that's the case, he's not the right guy, is he?
I think he said about the style of play that they're looking to bring to Stamford Bridge, and even though he hasn't been successful, won anything, he's still been proven to show that it's about the entertainment and the excitement of the game as well. And even Guardiola said it is that he would change the face of the Premier League in the way they do things. And what Napoli did over the last couple of years, everyone who watches Italian football will see the type of style that he plays, and there's an opportunity for him to go and do something different, because yes, it was something new when Conte come in and done the three at the back and they won the league. Last year didn't go quite well, but now it's a case of people do want to see a bit of change. They want to be a little bit adaptable in terms of, even when things are not going right, do we just stick with three at the back, what Conte did? This guy is going to be someone that's going to go the way he wants to go. He's going to change it if he has to change it, but he wants to do it by winning games of football and doing it with a bit of excitement as well. What
could he have done in 3 weeks or so as manager? Because the replacement of Conte, it took a crazy amount of time to get it done. Whatever he can do, knowing he's going to get this job back in Italy, you know, he might have been planning for it, but you can't do much till you get on the training ground with the players, and he's not even got Eden Hazard and Willian back, if he ever gets them back at this point.
I mean, I spoke to one of the players a couple of weeks ago who's just now gone on loan, and he was saying for the time that he'd been in, he said it was just constant tactical stuff. And when he said that to me, I said, well, because he's obviously trying to stamp his authority and get everyone on the same page early. So he said the training sessions haven't been sort of routine passing drills, possessions. What he said, it's just literally everything's been tactically based. So the passing drill is about the formation and how we do things. The possession stuff is about how we play with and without the ball. So he's trying to install that as his first priority, knowing that he's playing catch up amongst everybody else. So it'll be good to sort of see if there are implements sort of shown today. And would he be given a time period? I'd hope so, in terms of if he doesn't get the right results the first 2-3 games, but you can see things happening. I think everyone at Chelsea will be happy with that.
And what of Manchester City, of course, champions last year with 100 points, over 100 goals, 30 points ahead of Chelsea. They finished 70 to 100. Fantastic season. I mean, this is going to be impossible to match that for Pep Guardiola, isn't it? And they've only brought in Riyad Mahrez.
But I think what the good thing is with Guardiola, every year he evolves, and I think it's one of those ones where you're probably going to see some stuff exactly the same, but it's going to be tweaked, it's going to be enhanced, because you always want to be looking to improve. The same as every year of every club. You finish in 8th, you want to finish in 7th, so on and so forth. For him, it's going to be, we worked with this and it was successful, but we're going to have to do that and more. And I think that's going to be another challenge for those boys now, that know that every time they play, there's going to be even more pressure on them. And I think with the group that he's got, I think he knows the players that can deal with it and those that can't. So I don't think he's probably going to look to bring too many changes. He says only the one at the moment, possibly a couple during the week, we don't know. But he's still very happy with the young boys that he took on pre-season tour of them. So they're little ones that can come in and probably add that little bit of difference to be classed as a, quote, new signing if need be.
The last 4 editions of the Community Shield have all been won by the reigning FA Cup champions, with Manchester United in 2013 the last reigning league champions to be victorious in this match. So Chelsea favourites, right? Maybe not. You're listening to the 2018 Community Shield Live with TalkSport.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Barclays Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at TalkSport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit TalkSport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in.
Premier League preview show with TalkSport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal. It's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Joining us on the preview show, the former Arsenal striker and most stylish man in football, Jeremy Aliadier. I didn't want him here, but he's turned up anyway, is the former Chelsea man, Clive Walker.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there.
Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2.
Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance! Vardy goal! Leicester City, out of nowhere, have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
This is Premier League Live.
Premier League Live with TalkSport.
This is a golden chance, and Marcus Rashford doesn't need a second invitation.
The only way to listen to the world's most exciting league outside the UK and Ireland.
It's a big chance here for West Ham, and they've got the equalising goal. A brilliant free kick right off the training ground.
We've got every single goal, every single weekend of the season.
Son to shoot, goal! Tottenham Hotspur have broken through.
English football at its finest.
Square pass to Kante, and now a brilliant finish from Gonzalo Higuain.
Premier League Live with TalkSport.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Fulham against Liverpool from Craven Cottage. I'm your host, Alex Crook. Alongside me is the former Leeds and QPR midfielder, Sean Derry. This is Premier League Live. On another huge afternoon for Liverpool as they have the chance to overhaul Manchester City at the top of the Premier League table. Jurgen Klopp's men have been suffering from a bout of travel sickness though in recent matches, dropping 6 points on their last 3 games on the road. Klopp knows only a win will do against a Fulham side who've lost 9 of their last 10 matches and are surely heading straight back to the Championship. The caretaker manager Scott Parker makes no fewer than 5 alterations to the Fulham side, beaten at Leicester last time out. Fosu Mensah, Chambers, Seri, Ongiza and Aite come into the team. Rico is the goalkeeper. Fosu Mensah, Chambers, Ream and Bryan in defence. Seri, Kearney and Ongiza in midfield. Aite, Mitrovic and Ryan Babel against his former club make up the front trio. As for Liverpool, 2 alterations from the team that performed so well in Munich in midweek. Fabinho is in for the injured Henderson, while Lallana returns in place of Milner, who drops to the bench. Alisson, the goalkeeper, Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Matip and Robertson, the now familiar back 4. It's Wijnaldum, Fabinho and Lallana in midfield, and that formidable front 3 of Salah, Firmino and the in-form Sadio Mane. Sean Derry, you looked at the team sheet when it came out and just puff your cheeks, really. I think you fear for Fulham this afternoon.
I do, Alex, yeah. I think every Fulham fan will be expecting the worst this afternoon, and that's not being negative, that's just being realistic. I think this is a challenge for Scott to go into this afternoon's game and perhaps look forward for potentially what next year looks like. I say that because of the amount of changes that they've made, and it's been pretty consistent. You know, we'll be looking at different players, you know, viewing them on a day-to-day basis, but obviously when it comes to big games like this, you do want your team to turn up and you want to put in a performance, and you'll be looking for that. But any optimistic Fulham fan, you need to be on this afternoon, Alex, to try and get something out of this afternoon's game.
And for Liverpool, this is a chance they just have to take, don't they? They can't afford anything other than a convincing win.
I think it needs to be a statement afternoon. I really do. A wonderful result in the week in Europe. You know, you need to back that up now. You know, you need to take that top of the Premier League and make sure that Manchester City win their game. But to do that, all the players have to turn up, and what a strong side that is lined up with this afternoon. It's a real formidable starting 11.
We're going to be hearing from Jurgen Klopp and Scott Parker in just a few moments, but I want to draw your attention to some interesting comments in the Matchday programme. They're from the Fulham midfielder Kevin McDonald, who is amongst the subs this afternoon. He's been speaking about Claudio Ranieri, who of course Parker has replaced as manager. What about this, Sean? McDonald writes, his style of play didn't suit the players he had. In fairness, he had the right idea initially. We needed to stop leaking goals, and he set us up quite strong defensively, but we were still fragile at times. First and foremost, he did want us to defend. After that, his style didn't work for the team. We didn't have the players for the way he wanted us to play. He wanted to play with the ball in behind opponents, but the whole Fulham team is about playing the ball on the floor. There's no one really who can get in behind apart from Abu Kamara, but then he got rid of him. It was a real struggle for Ranieri. We were all a bit confused with what he wanted. The players were not going onto the pitch sometimes, not sure what they were meant to do. There was no real control to the game. We were kind of just winging it and hoping Mitro scored a goal.
Wow. I mean, you don't often read these kind of comments in the public domain. Normally them comments are kept behind closed doors. I think when you put it into a programme, you know, that just highlights where Fulham have been over the last 3 or 4 months. I don't think you can take anything away from Ranieri for the amazing job that he done at Leicester. But post-Leicester, you know, there's been a lot of question marks about... I don't think it was a man management skills. I think the players genuinely warmed to the man. You know, he seems to be that kind of character. But the game has changed, and he had a different type of starting 11 at Leicester. I mean, what got Fulham the success was the brand of football. You know, the Championship, they kind of changed the whole philosophy of the Championship last year with Jukanovic. I'm not too sure if I'm quite easy reading them comments. I think they need to be kept quiet.
Yeah, it's interesting, as you say, for a player to put them in the public domain in a club publication. Presumably he's got the backing of the programme editor and therefore the owners at Fulham. Ranieri hasn't done too bad outfit, has he? He's just been appointed as Roma manager, so I think he'll be pretty content. Interesting comments then from Kevin McDonald, of course, looking ahead to Fulham against Liverpool. We're going to hear from the two bosses now, Jurgen Klopp and Scott Parker.
There's only so many more weeks I can sit here going, I believe we can stay up, but while there is points to be played for, there's still that hope. Again, I understand it's going to be difficult, but one result can kickstart something, and certainly got the quality in the squad to try and do that. But ultimately, people can always fire back, but you've had long enough now, or certainly the team have, and you're not really you've not done it, so what's going to change? But like I said, while there's still points to play, I still have a belief that we can do something.
We will stay focused. That's all what I can say. It's not that we are surprised about ourselves that we can beat Bayern. About how we did it, I'm not surprised, but I'm really happy that we could prove something like that. And now let's be completely concentrated on Fulham and don't think about what happens afterwards or whatever.
When you look at Liverpool, probably the deadliest front three in the Premier League, so I think you're right in what you say there, that it is going to be difficult. Obviously, again, the numbers stack up against us, that has to change, and can that change the weekend? I fully believe it can.
Just play that game and stay in the same mood like we always were, confident but greedy, very important, aggressive, all that stuff, direct, all what you need in a football game. Stay in that mood and then everything will be fine.
That was Scott Parker and Jurgen Klopp then looking ahead to Fulham against Liverpool here on Premier League Live. Interesting comments from Jurgen Klopp there, saying that Bayern Munich is in the past now, they need to focus on the future. Is that the biggest concern if you're a Liverpool fan today, that it could be after the Lord Mayor's show, they may struggle to get going on the back of their heroics in Bavaria?
Well, what a week. I mean, it was an incredible performance and a fantastic result. But they do have to put that to bed. And when you're in a promotion fight, a championship fight like this, when you're looking for that unbelievable gift at the end of the season of being the league champions, you have to put things to bed very, very quickly. And they would have returned from Germany and really focused on this game. I just made comments earlier on saying it'd be a statement afternoon. Well, for that to happen, Alex, you've got to be in the right frame of mind. And I look at the side that Klopp's put out this afternoon, and I just see this side as being so strong. And I find it very, very hard to look beyond a Liverpool win here this afternoon. I don't think anybody's questioned the mentality. Yes, they've had a little bit of a dip with certain results, perhaps in last month, but they seem to be back on the horse now.
And in terms of what Scott Parker was saying there, they do still have a chance of staying up in his eyes. Will he genuinely believe that, or in his heart of hearts will he and the players know they're already down?
He'll be a realist, of course he will, but you need to say the right things if you want that manager's job, and I'm sure Scott Parker wants that massively. His chairman will be listening and reading all the words that he's saying. He'll be looking at performances, and this is his audition. His audition's live. He's in a fantastic position to get the Fulham job, and I know that Scott Parker, the player that I played against, will be the manager that we're seeing now. He'll be honest, he'll be diligent, he'll be thoughtful, his processes will be right, and he'll be doing everything he possibly can to get this Fulham team in a different frame of mind to perhaps what it's been the last 4 or 5 months.
Well, the two players have emerged from the dressing rooms here at the Cottage. They are about to make their entrance onto the field. There is a banner that's just been unfurled in the away end. It reads quite simply, "Now is the time for Jurgen's men." They may not get a better opportunity to end their long wait for championship glory, but to do that you feel they simply have to win here this afternoon. They are unbeaten in their last 11 in the Premier League against newly promoted sides. Will that run continue, or could Fulham blow the title race wide open? We're going to find out very shortly. You are listening to Premier League Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much. Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot. What a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent
magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there.
Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2.
Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance. Vardy goal. Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
He's put down the dumbbells and has turned up here for the show. Chris Iwelumo is on the preview show. A Premier League winner, Paul Parker, joins us on the Premier League Preview Show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Fulham against Liverpool from Craven Cottage. I'm your host, Alex Crook. Alongside me is the former Leeds and Queen's Park Rangers midfielder Sean Derry. This is Premier League Live. And after their Champions League heroics in Munich on Wednesday, it is back to the pursuit for domestic glory for Liverpool, with the chance to overtake Manchester City at the top of the table. But before we get off and underway, there is to be a minute's applause here at Craven Cottage.
Our thoughts are now with our husband Mark, young son Oscar, and parents who joined us here today, and on their behalf we thank you for the kind messages that have been received. Zara will always be a member of the Fulham family. We now invite fans of both Fulham and Liverpool to join us in a period of applause which will begin and end on the referee's whistle.
So the minute's applause impeccably observed there in memory of Zara Barker-Harrison, Fulham's former head of experience and events, who tragically passed away last week. Well, it will be Fulham in the white shirts, black shorts and white socks, shooting left to right in the first half to get this afternoon's proceedings off and underway. For the Cottagers, 13 points adrift of safety. Surely it's about playing for pride as well as points for the rest of the season. The home side bidding to avoid a 7th successive defeat. Liverpool with the opportunity to leapfrog Manchester City at the top of the table. City, of course, occupied this weekend by the FA Cup. A win would take Liverpool 2 points clear of the defending champions. Liverpool all in red, are shooting from right to left in this first half. And the ball is hoisted forward by Trent Alexander-Arnold, the teenage right-back. He's been in such sensational form this season. Liverpool have already amassed more points after 30 games than any season in their history. Will the campaign end with a first league championship since 1990? That's the big question on the lips of those in the away end. Just to run you through the two lineups once more. Fulham have Rico in goal, Fosu-Mensah, Chambers back in his preferred centre-back role alongside Ream and Bryan in that back four. Seri, Kearney and Ongiza make up midfield. Aite, Mitrovic and Ryan Babel, the Anfield old boy up front for Liverpool. Alisson in goal. That usual back four of Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Matip and Robertson. Wijnaldum, Fabinho and Lallana in midfield, with Salah, Firmino and Sadio Mane up front. Here is the red-haired Babel trying to make progress down the Fulham left-hand side, stopped in his tracks by Alexander-Arnold. So throw in for Fulham. Ryan Babel, who scored 12 goals in 91 games for Liverpool, yet to have any real impact on this Fulham side since his January arrival from Besiktas over in Turkey. What would you expect, Sean Derry, from the early exchanges?
From a Fulham point of view, you don't really want to leave yourself exposed too early in the game. You know, to try and grab hold of the game as many passes as you possibly can, even if it's in a defensive area, just to stop Liverpool from getting the ball and getting that kind of fluidity that we know that they can play with. The longer it goes on, and you know, if Fulham can keep it very, very tight and cagey, I think that will benefit them for this game. You don't want Liverpool to be, you know, that forceful front three that's gotten them the success over recent years. I think you look at the changes in Liverpool as well. You know, the midfield changes in Wijnaldum and Fabinho and Lallana from the midweek game, and
there's a bit more energy there, isn't there?
But does it affect them negatively? You look at the bench. It's such a strong squad now, and like I said before the game started, it's one afternoon where you've got to be looking at a dominant display from Liverpool.
Extra pressure maybe also on Liverpool, with City not in action this weekend. If you look at the run-ins of the two title challengers, Manchester City, of their remaining 8 games, only 3 of them at home, 5 away, 4 at home, 4 on the road for Liverpool, who are coming forward here with Robertson. A good challenge on the edge of the penalty area by Timothy Fosu-Mensah. After this, Liverpool have a potential tricky game at home to Tottenham, then Southampton away on a Friday night, Chelsea at home, Cardiff away, shouldn't be too many problems there, Huddersfield at home, Newcastle away, and then Wolves at home on the final day for City. Ironically, they host Fulham next weekend, and it's Cardiff at home, Crystal Palace away, Tottenham at home, Manchester United away. Big game that could be. Burnley away, Leicester at home, Brighton away. Who's got the more favourable run-in?
I think when it comes to this stage of the season, when you're looking at the final 7 or 8 games, and
there'll be one game there that you wouldn't expect them to drop points in, and one of the two clubs will.
Absolutely, that was exactly what I was just about to say, Alex. You look at them, and there's going to be the game, and you're going to think, "Oh, where did that come from?" You know, no one was expecting that. I look at the Manchester United game for Manchester City, and I just think that's going to be huge. You know, it always is, the local derby, with 3 games to play after the Man United game. Could that be a pivotal day for Man City? I think it's going to be really tight. I really do. I don't
Sticking your neck out there.
Incredibly tight. I really do. But I just fancy Manchester City.
Here is Van Dijk on the edge of the penalty area. Tries to lay it off to Lallana. Picked up by Ongiza, Fulham's record signing. Yet really to justify the price tag, and it's cleared upfield as far as Wijnaldum. Helped forward by Aite. Now it's all the way back to Alisson, the Liverpool goalkeeper. I think Southampton away from home on that Friday night could be tricky for Liverpool. Saints have already beaten Arsenal and Tottenham at St Mary's since Ralph Hasenhüttl came in.
Now that is a team transformed. Wow, he's done a great job. He has. He's got St Mary's believing again. I think under Mark Hughes, perhaps even the most optimistic Saints fan would have said that they was going to be going into the Championship, but with the new manager coming in, he's given them belief. And I remember playing for QPR against the top teams, you know, the final 6 or 7 games, and we happened to beat a Tottenham and an Arsenal, and the lower team, they have got such a need to win, and the want to win and the need to win is very different sometimes.
Were you in that QPR team that crazy last day of the season at the Etihad?
I was, yeah. Incredible.
The Aguero moment.
The Aguero moment that will forever stand out in British football. You'll see I was the one that was sliding about 5 yards away from Aguero, getting nowhere near the winning goal.
So you could have changed the course of history if you got a bit closer to him.
Absolutely. I was expecting a nice bottle of red wine off Sir Alex Ferguson if I'd have got my foot to that, but listen, it's in the past and we're in the present now, and there's two great teams going for it.
I just wonder if we could see another dramatic final day of the season. Man City away at Brighton, Liverpool at home to Wolves, who of course put their place in the FA Cup semi-finals last night, beating Manchester United by 2-0. Good season they've had. Here's Van Dijk for Liverpool. This game really not sparked into life as yet. 7 minutes gone. Fulham 0, Liverpool 0. I'm sure the Cottagers will be happy enough with that.
I think Liverpool are going to have to show a real element of patience this afternoon. And I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen the lineup as a 4-3-3 for Scott Parker's Fulham, but it'll be more like a 4-5-1 with both Ayite and Babel acting as wing-backs, a back six sometimes, because we know how threatening both the full-backs of Alexander-Arnold and Robertson can be. And you need your wide men for the Fulham lads to be turned on, to be tuned in defensively. But when you've got that and you know you're playing against a deep line, back line like Fulham perhaps will hold this afternoon, Liverpool are going to have to move the ball really quickly to really make sure that they exploit the openings that they can possibly attract this afternoon.
Fulham had the ball in the Liverpool half, bounces off Seri though, and kindly for Wijnaldum. Salah coming very deep. It's Adam Lallana now. He's back to his own goal, so forced to play it back to Matip. Van Dijk, lovely little back heel into the path of Firmino. Mane's fallen on the floor ahead of him. Firmino tried to find Salah instead, but it's cleared away by Fulham. It's picked up in the right wing position by Timothy Fosu-Mensah.
Brilliant little piece of skill by Salah there, and he just naturally finds that number 10 role when he plays out wide. He just drifts into certain little spaces, and great player to watch. The front three for Liverpool are absolutely marvellous, they really are.
Plenty of goals between them this season, that's for sure. 20 for Salah, 13 for Firmino, 19 for Sadio Mane. Here's Babel though into the penalty area at the other end, pulls it back to Seri on the edge of the box. Seri's going to shoot, try to curl it for the corner, over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick. Inventive though from Fulham.
He was. Great little piece of skill on the left hand side by the red-headed Babel. Still can't forget his Liverpool past, and always makes me smile when the boys dye the hair, in kind of remembrance to where they've once been. And brilliant 1v1 against Alexander-Arnold. Just beat him, and little layoff for Seri, and couldn't quite hit the target, but optimistic from Fulham. I think these Fulham fans want to see them actually going for it. Like I said before, they're not expecting to turn up and see a winning Fulham this afternoon, but they're going to want to see a different Fulham.
Actually a decent atmosphere down by the Thames, one of the more picturesque grounds in the Premier League, certainly in terms of the walk up to the stadium. It's very old style as well, 4 very separate stands, and the old cottage still here where the players come out before kick-off. It's a beautiful afternoon as well in London. 10 minutes played, Fulham 0, Liverpool 0. Fulham have lost 10 games in all competitions in 2019. That's more than any side in the top 5 divisions of English football. They've also lost their last 6 in the Premier League, not lost 7 in a row since 1962. That's the record that Scott Parker will be looking to avoid emulating this afternoon. Parker is actually the 4th different Fulham manager to have taken charge against Liverpool. The last 4 times these sides have met. That really illustrates the upheaval that the Cottagers have been through. Robertson hurdles the challenge from Fosu-Mensah into the penalty area. Plenty of options in red, and he's passed it straight into the gloves of a grateful Sergio Rico.
Oh, it was a wonderful diagonal ball by Virgil van Dijk. He really was, and Robertson does what Robertson does, gets right high, lifts his head, and very surprising he didn't pick out a red shirt. There was 6 Liverpool bodies in the box, and a great chance for Liverpool. And as the game goes on, they're going to make sure they exploit them areas behind Fosu Mensah, because he's been looking for the overloads, because we know that it's going to be Salah and, you know, his fullback behind him. The 2v1s are going to cause major problems, you know, because Salah don't stay on the right hand side, he drifts over into little pockets, and tough for the back four for Fulham. But you're expecting a little bit more quality in the final third by Robertson there.
Yes, 8 assists already this season for Andrew Robertson. For once his crossing let him down. Here is Matip now for Liverpool, deep inside his own half. Just a bit of a spat between Matip and Van Dijk as Fulham launched a long ball upfield after that chance that went begging. Van Dijk made a bit of a mess of the header and blamed Matip for not giving him a shout that he had more time. Here is Virgil van Dijk. In many people's eyes, he's possibly the player of the year in the Premier League this season. Raheem Sterling may have something to say about that. Who'll get your vote, Sean Derry?
Well, I always go for an attacking player. You know, when I've voted in the past, it's always been the guys who have, you know, took the acclaims of scoring the goals and setting up the goals. But what a player. I mean, he has just set the bar so high. There's nobody quite like him.
Salah penalised for a push over on the right-hand side. Joe Bryan, the Fulham player, shoved to the floor. It will be a free kick in their left-back position. Liverpool have won the last 5 meetings between these two. Their best ever sequence of results against Fulham.
But I think when going back to Virgil van Dijk, you know, this is why I think it's really important that Liverpool win one of the major competitions this year. Because you know, if they don't win one of these major competitions, Alex, it's going to be a Real Madrid calling or a Barcelona calling, because they have got that capability of buying anybody in the world. And he is possibly at this moment in time the top centre-half in European football.
13 minutes played. Fulham 0, Liverpool 0. No real clear-cut goal-scoring chances as yet. Liverpool just continuing to dominate possession, but Fulham at the moment have been defensively resolute. It hasn't been the case for much of the season. Here is Alexander-Arnold in space on the right-hand side. Again, the cross was a poor one, and it's stabbed away by Ream, picked up by Jean-Michel Seri, the diminutive Ivorian. And with a big reputation, Jean-Michel Seri, when he arrived from Nice for £18 million in the summer, but like many of Fulham's new signings, have struggled really to adapt.
I think it just highlights the quality of the Premier League. You know, Fulham spent over £100 million in the summer and have struggled massively this year. I know they've had the problems with the management situations, perhaps that you don't want to incur over the course of a season. Changing managers twice is not what it should be, but when you're coming from a different type of league, going into the Premier League's a completely different ball game.
Here's Wijnaldum attacking down the left for Liverpool. Comes infield for Sadio Mane. Fabinho switches play out to the white-booted Alexander-Arnold in the sunshine at Craven Cottage. Back to Fabinho wearing gloves. I'm not sure they're required. Relatively mild afternoon. That's another disappointing ball into the Fulham penalty area from Trent Alexander-Arnold. Skirts all the way through for a goal kick.
Yeah, Liverpool are just probing, taking control of the middle of the pitch. Fabinho pulling the strings, and Wijnaldum and Lalani just getting ahead of the holding midfielder in Anguissa for Fulham. And both the fullbacks for Liverpool have got great quality. We've not seen it just yet in this game, but we know that it's a consistent delivery, and it only takes Firmino getting on the end of it, and there could be a lot of problems for Fulham this afternoon. But what they need to do, they need to make sure they're keeping a real deep line at this moment in time. They know that the 3 for Liverpool can get beyond, so they are holding 20 yards deeper, and that's where the quality and the presence and the passing drills of Liverpool day in, day out come to fruition on afternoons like this.
This is the first of our 2 live Premier League commentaries this afternoon here on Premier League Live. Still to come later, Everton against Chelsea at Goodison Park in the company of John Anderson and the former Toffees goalkeeper Steve Simonson. And don't forget, the best way to look ahead to a Premier League weekend is by subscribing to TalkSport's Premier League Preview Show podcast. That's available every Thursday. Here's Robertson raiding down the left-hand side once again for Liverpool. Mane glides away from the attentions of Aite, and then it's chipped back out to Robertson on this left-hand side. Liverpool very patient so far as he's played into the area, but Mane can't get the ball out from under his feet. Will be a goal kick for Fulham with 17 goalless minutes played at Craven Cottage, and the longer it goes on, Sean Derry, just the more nervy the Liverpool fans in the away end will begin to get, and indeed those listening around the world, and that will begin to seep onto the pitch, won't it? They know how important it is to win the game this afternoon.
Well, it happens, you know. The thousands of Liverpool fans that have turned up this afternoon will all be expecting for a standard away victory. But to get that, you know, you need to score early. You need to make sure that you put this deep-lying Fulham defence to the sword, and they've had 3 or 4 opportunities to have a little bit more quality, and that'll be the worrying part for Jurgen Klopp. And what they don't want to do is get caught on the counter, because they're playing with 2 fullbacks as left and right wingers at the moment.
Here is Babel for Fulham, back into his own half, and the American Reed. Neat turn from Kearney, but just showed a bit too much of it to Roberto Firmino. Firmino out to Mohamed Salah down the right-hand side. He's going to run at Ream into the penalty area. He's good challenge in the end from Ream, sliding in and conceding the first corner of the afternoon.
Yeah, he done well there, Ream. Just got himself found out a little bit in a wide area, perhaps in a uncompromising position when you've got Salah running at you in the 18-yard box, but stood on his feet and defended the situation really well.
So Fulham 0, Liverpool 0, 18 minutes play. We have a corner which Trent Alexander-Arnold is limbering up to take. Van Dijk is summoned forward from the back. It's Matip with a header across the face of goal and wide. That was a chance.
Big chance. It really was a routine ball really into the box from Trent Alexander-Arnold. We know the quality that he's got, but there was nothing really special in the cross. But the Fulham defenders have not latched onto any of the red shirts. You know, they're all lining up on the edge of the 6-yard box. 4 of the players, and Matic's just come out of his little slot, and it was a free header, and he should have hit the target there.
Well, I mentioned in the build-up to the game Liverpool's imperious record against newly promoted sides. Their record against teams from outside the so-called Big Six is even more impressive. You have to go back to January of 2018, a 1-0 defeat away at Swansea. For the last time they lost to any of the teams outside that top 6, 33 matches and counting. They have been flat-track bullies at times, the men from Merseyside. Here is Matip, headed opportunity still playing on his mind, no doubt. Plays it out to Alexander-Arnold on the Liverpool right. Here he is again, Alexander-Arnold in some space on that right-hand side, chips the ball into the area, excellently brought down by Mohamed Salah, but he just took one touch too many inside the penalty area, and then allowed Joe Bryan to get back there and clear it away for Fulham. A good counter actually. Babel needs to get the ball out from under his feet quickly. He just slowed it down, and they had to go all the way back to Sergio Rico in the goal.
They're probing. Liverpool are really probing, passing the ball well on the edge of the 18-yard box and finding the famous 3, the 3 forward players of Liverpool. We know they can create, but what they're doing as well is Lallana's running beyond. Wijnaldum's getting very close to them, and this man on the ball now, Robertson's playing high and wide.
Yeah, Robertson picks up possession down by the corner flag. Fulham, really for the first time over the last 4 or 5 minutes, just beginning to look a bit ragged, a bit stretched back there. This is Firmino looking for Mohamed Salah. Actually ran into Lallana, and that checkered any momentum that the Egyptian had built up, and the ball goes behind for a goal kick. Not quite been at their sharp as Liverpool. I just wonder if those exertions in Munich may have taken their toll physically and mentally.
Absolutely. I mean, they would have been fully focused for that major game in the week, of course, and they've got the short travel from Germany, and when you get back you've got to be doing your recovery straight on the training pitch and looking forward, the highs of Wednesday night to, obviously a different type of challenge here this afternoon. Some players do switch off, and it doesn't matter what quality player you are, you always look forward to the major games, and Wednesday night was a major game for them.
Breaking ball upfield from Alexander-Arnold, but Salah, much to the delight of the Fulham supporters, unable to stretch to keep the ball in play, so it will be a throw-in for the home side. Fulham haven't taken a point off any of the big six since 1-1 draw against Chelsea back in April 2012. As we tiptoe towards the midway point of the first half, they're still very much in this one. 0-0 the score. Throw in which Brian hurls down the line for the Cottagers. Babel picks it up around about halfway, forced back into his own half by Matip. There will be another Fulham throw. Babel just readjusting his footwear. This throw-in will be taken over on that far side. You can tweet us this afternoon at TalkSport Live. Let us know where in the world you are listening and your predictions as to what may unfold. Not too many Premier League matches this weekend because of the FA Cup quarter-finals, but what we lacked in quantity yesterday, we certainly had plenty of drama. I was at the London Stadium to see West Ham come back from 3-1 down with 15 minutes remaining to win 4-3 against Huddersfield. Felt pretty sorry for Huddersfield actually at the end of that game. Newcastle snatched a point late on at Bournemouth. Matt Ritchie with a goal against his old club in a 2-2 draw. And it finished again in the dying seconds. Leicester 2, Burnley 1 at Turf Moor. Burnley back in trouble, Sean Derry, at the bottom of the table.
Yeah, it was amazing yesterday, the amount of late goals that were scored. I mean, I know it was a day of troubled weather, and I think, you know, I was at a game myself for my team, Oxford United, and it really caused a lot of problems. It really did, but you can never take your eye off the Premier League. You really can't. I mean, the loss for Huddersfield yesterday would have been absolutely crushing. I mean, new manager at the helm, had a win the other week, and then obviously back to the normality of losing Premier League games is very despondent, you know, disappointing for the players. Brilliant for West Ham, you know. They've had a pretty decent season, I think. I think they've been okay. I think the new manager's come in and Pellegrini's got them going and instilled a little bit of belief at the London Stadium, and great to see. And obviously the Leicester win with Captain Morgan right at the very end was exactly what you saw of a few years ago, you know, the big players coming to life.
Here's Babel trying to come to life for Fulham down the left-hand side. He's put it through the legs of Fabinho into the penalty area. Back to Babel on the edge of the box. He's going to shoot right-footed. It's deflected and swirls out for a throw-in on this near touchline. Home fans showing their appreciation there for the efforts of Ryan Babel. Blocked in the end by the right knee of Joel Matip. And it will be a throw-in that Timothy Fosu-Mensah will take on the right-hand side. Chested down by Seri, down by the corner flag. Kearney with a cross into the 6-yard box, and the clearance from Matip is up in the air. Just for a moment, Allison was scrambling before managing to gather the ball at the second time of asking, and goes long upfield looking for Salah. This is where maybe Fulham could be stretched. Firmino, 10 yards outside the penalty area, finds Lallana in the box. Lallana didn't want to shoot with his right foot, and that allowed the challenge to come in. It was a really good piece of defending from Fosu-Mensah in the end. Just wonder, Sean Derry, if he should have hit the shot first time. Adam Lallana took too many touches, and it was a good challenge.
It was a brilliant counter-attack by Liverpool. It really was, set up by the mightily impressive Alisson. Took the game. I wouldn't say it was a boot upfield, it was a long pass from the goalkeeper. He's got great quality with his feet, and a great ball as well from Alexander-Arnold. It was a cutting ball. It was one of them balls that you need to do to try and break down this pretty rigid Fulham team. I can't understand why Lallana didn't shoot first time. It fell to his more favoured foot. To take the extra touch in the box was the wrong decision, and that's just been consistent this afternoon in the 24 minutes that we've been playing.
Here is Mane now into the Fulham penalty area. Finds Firmino on the byline, cuts it back, and Sadio Mane gives Liverpool the lead. 26 minutes gone at Craven Cottage. They went through the Fulham defence like a knife through butter, and there was Sadio Mane to score his 11th goal in his last 12 matches. When you're going to try and win a Premier League title, you need a talisman, and my word, has Sadio Mane become that talisman for Liverpool. Fulham 0, Liverpool 1.
Oh, what a goal. absolutely brilliant Liverpool goal. Again, the final three, the front three working off different lines. Mane find himself on the wing. But the best thing about Liverpool and Manchester City this year is that when they get into the final third, you've got forward running players in beyond, and it causes the defence so many problems. Exactly what we've just seen then. Firmino run behind, great pullback, and a brilliant goal by Mane.
Well, that will ease any jitters on the Liverpool bench. Ironically, just as Fulham were probably having their best spell in the game. Here's Aite trying to forage a way through. Stopped on the edge of the penalty area, and you do wonder now as Fulham commit more men forward whether Liverpool can help themselves on the counter-attack. Here's Mohamed Salah, right corner of the box, his cross is charged down. Aite under pressure from Fabinho, can't keep the ball. It's with Salah now in those red boots, infield to Wijnaldum in the equally colourful footwear. Robertson, here's Mane, the goal scorer, into the area, looking for a cutback, hammers it against Fosu-Mensah and out for a Liverpool corner, their second of the afternoon.
I think Scott Parker's got a bit of a problem here, purely based on his midfield lineup. And Guisa's holding, and Kearney and Seri are playing just in front. I'd flip it to a two holders, because what's happening here is Wijnaldum and Lallana, they're just running beyond, and it's causing a major problem for Anguissa. He doesn't know what to do. He has no idea whether to go with one or two or stay in his position, and this is where Liverpool are really frightening, when they get bodies in front of the defensive third for the opposition.
It's going to be Alexander-Arnold to take the corner from the left-hand side. It's a right-footed delivery towards the near post, cleared away by Ream. Collected by Fabinho on the edge of the centre circle. Here's Salah now, and he's going to shoot from a long way out. Goalkeeper almost spilt it, under pressure from Virgil van Dijk as he collapses over the top of the ball. Sergio Rico needs a goal, Mohamed Salah. 4 Premier League games without netting. It's his worst run in a Liverpool shirt. It had to be some strike to beat Rico from there.
Yeah, it was a strike from a player who, like what you've just said, Alex, requires that goal, needs that goal. He'll be looking for this afternoon's opponent, saying, I should be looking to score here. It wouldn't surprise me if he does. He's one of them players who you just never write off.
Here is Kearney for Fulham, attacking down that left touch line, tries the 1-2 with Bryant, overcooked it really, and then Alexander-Arnold wins a throw as Bryant slid in to try and retrieve the ball. Liverpool leading by 1-0, then scored by Sadio Mane. Could be bad news for Fulham, who have shown over the course of the season, if nothing else, they do have the ability to concede on an all too regular basis. Really, we saw that with the goal, the defence torn to ribbons by the elite interplay of Liverpool. Here is Mane, who plays it back to Virgil van Dijk on the edge of the Liverpool 18-yard box. Now Fabinho holds off Seri, strokes the ball out to his left-hand side, and Robertson back to Wijnaldum. Liverpool content just to pass Fulham to death. Here he is again, Fabinho, inside the centre circle. Liverpool have won 18 of the 21 games when they've scored first this season. They're unbeaten in the last 49 matches when they've hit the front. That's since a 2-1 defeat at Crystal Palace back in April of 2017. They are so defensively resolute this season as well. Very hard team to break down now, with the excellent Van Dijk and Alisson, the goalkeeper, very much key components in that record.
He's impressed me, Fabinho. Whenever I've watched him play, he's been a real reliable player. He really has. Moves the ball very well. Intelligent footballer. Sees the defensive side of the game as well, and just lends the ball to the more attacking players with a real crispness in his pass as well, which is impressive. You've got to be a crisp passer to play for Liverpool, and I know he's got the number 3, and it's sometimes quite awkward to watch a midfielder with a number 3 on his back, but he's a very good player.
Down by Firmino on John Mikel Seri, halfway inside the Fulham half. Roberto Firmino, who's been involved in 100 goals for Liverpool in terms of assists and scoring since Jurgen Klopp became the manager. It's more than any other player. Just goes about his business quietly, doesn't seek too many headlines off the pitch. He's been very effective as part of this formidable trio that Klopp has assembled over the course of his Anfield tenure.
Some would say he's probably the most important part of the three. You know, when he plays well, the other two play really well with him. You know, he's got an unselfish way of playing. You know, very rarely do you see a number 9 who's as happy to lend the ball to somebody else to score. But Firmino's definitely that kind of player.
Here's Brian for Fulham, coming in from the left-hand side, putting the cross into the penalty area. Nito not quite on his toes, and it trickles harmlessly behind for a goal kick. We've got 13 minutes to go until half-time here. Fulham 0, Liverpool 1 is the score. Scott Parker watching on, the caretaker manager for Fulham. Very much a Fulham man. Part of that side, of course, that reached the semi-finals of the UEFA Cup. Robertson with a cross into the penalty area, cleared and collected by Babel on the edge of his own box. He's got Alexander Arnold for company over on that left-hand side. He tries to seek out Mitrovic, who's been starved of service so far. Van Dijk heads the ball clear. I think that's the first time in 33 minutes we've even mentioned Mitrovic's name.
I know. I mean, what a tough task he's got this afternoon up against the Premier League's best defender. What makes me laugh is he's so calm and composed, even with his short headers. He's always looking to bring others into play, and he's an absolute Rolls Royce of a centre-half.
Mitrovic is making his 50th start for Fulham this afternoon. His goal record is really impressive, 22 in his previous 49 matches. And of course he did have a goal harshly ruled out for offside in the game at Anfield, seconds before Liverpool took the lead and went on to win. Here is Firmino, 20 yards outside the penalty area, so flips it out to his left hand side, and Robertson's cross blocked by Seri. It will be a throw in now, level with the 18-yard box with 34 minutes play. 1-0 Liverpool lead. A reminder, we've got Everton against Chelsea still to come on this busy Sunday afternoon in the Premier League. And we did the FA Cup. Brighton or Millwall will be the last side to book their place at Wembley in the semi-finals. It's 0-0 there. The New Den. Championship takes on Premier League. Half time in that game. Here is Robertson, deep inside his own half, forward to Adam Lallana, playing his first game at Craven Cottage since scoring here for Southampton a few years ago now. The England international. This is Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's been included in the England side for the upcoming internationals against the Czech Republic and Montenegro. Rich reward for his excellent form this season, the young right back. Here he is again, Alexander-Arnold, well forward into the feet of Mohamed Salah, who was tripped by Bryan. Referee plays an advantage. Salah back to his feet and back in possession. Picks out Robertson on the left. This is Lallana. Robertson continues his run. Aite didn't track him. Robertson with a chance to make it two. He's hammered it against the goalkeeper's legs. Maybe he should have crossed the face of goal, but it was poor from Aite to let him go. Let off for Fulham.
That's the big worry. It's these wingers for Fulham. You know, Babel and Aite have got big responsibilities here this afternoon. And if you turn off for 0.5 of a second, they're going to hurt you. I mean, the only kind of disappointment from this attack for Liverpool is that perhaps Robertson made the wrong choice in the final ending of it. He was always going to be looking to pull it back, but he's gone for the shot there, and slightly disappointing for Jurgen Klopp's team that they didn't get the second goal. But there's only one team in it here. There really is. I mean, I can't see Fulham getting anything out of this with the way that it started this game. It's just when that second goal is going to come Liverpool's way.
Fosu Mensah to take the throw deep inside Fulham territory, finds Mitrovic on the halfway line, but it's cleared by Matip up into the West London sky and brought down on the halfway line by Alexander-Arnold, then played forward by Matip, well read by Andre Franck-Giza, the Cameroonian. And this is Babel now getting away from Alexander-Arnold. He's into the penalty area. Babel needs a good delivery into Kearney on the edge of the box, left-footed shot. Never looked confident he was going to hit the target, high over the crossbar. Disappointing end to a good move from Fulham.
Absolutely, there's one player on this pitch. If Fulham are going to get any kind of look from this afternoon, it's going to be Ryan Babel. He looks like he's got the bit between his teeth. Every time he's got the ball, he's been willing to run at Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Alexander-Arnold's a brilliant player, of course he is, but he likes to play in the final third, like any right back, and left back, especially playing for Liverpool. You're always going to be on the ball, so when you're up against it and you're on the back foot, you've got to be tested, and that's what Ryan Babel's done. He's brave, he's got at him 2 or 3 times, and it was a great layback for Kearney, and he was scoring them types of goals last year. They're the kind of goals that Tom Kearney was scoring 8-9 times for Fulham. It just goes to show what a lack of confidence can do.
Yeah, he's really struggled, Tom Kearney, making the step up from one of the brightest talents in the Championship into the Premier League. It would be difficult actually to pick out too many bright points from Fulham's torrid season so far. It's going to be a big job, be it for Scott Parker or indeed any other manager, to bring them straight back up next season as well. It's mega competitive, as we know, the Championship.
Oh, incredible. I mean, there's some monster teams in there. There'd be 4 or 5 of them won't even get anywhere near the playoffs this year.
Alexander-Arnold with a cross for Liverpool, blocked by Babel on the edge of the area. Alexander-Arnold has another swing at it, helped on by Salah, and then flicked away from Firmino by Aite, kept in play on this near side by Firmino. Links up with Lallana, a little 1-2 between those two, and now Van Dijk steps over the halfway line. Here comes Matip strolling forward. Liverpool have looked very composed, very confident whenever they've been in possession. Never flustered so far this afternoon, the side bidding to go back to the top of the Premier League.
The worrying thing here, Alex, is Liverpool are actually only playing in third gear. They really are. They're just barely above walking pace.
It's enough so far. Lallana into Mane, the goal scorer. Good challenge from Aite, wins it back midway inside the Fulham half. Then there was a foul on Kearney. Might be a bit fortunate there if he escapes a yellow card. Matip, he doesn't. It's Fabinho, in fact, who gets the first booking of the afternoon. Can't really have too many complaints. Reckless from the Cameroonian. Or the Brazilian, rather.
Yeah, just left his foot in there. Just slightly late for the challenge. And since the times when I was playing, them kind of tackles would just perhaps get a little word in your ear from the referee. Now the yellow cards, and
you'd have been booked every week, wouldn't you? In the modern game?
Would have been completely out of it, probably. Missing the whole season through suspension, Alex, through lack of pace in the challenge. But now the game's changed. It's become a lot quicker. Even in the short time since I've retired, it's such a more technical game now.
Here is Mane inside the centre circle, scorer of the goal that divides these two teams on 26 minutes. We've got a little over 5 remaining in this first half. Fulham 0, Liverpool 1. We'll read out some of your tweets during the interval. At TalkSport Live is our Twitter handle. Here is Robertson for Liverpool, back in field for Sadio Mane with that streak of yellow dye on the left-hand side of his hair. Certainly having a hot streak in front of goal, Sadio Mane at the moment. Although that is only the second time he's found the net in 12 matches away from Anfield. Just shows how prolific he's been in recent home games. Here is Mane. It was a poor challenge again by Fabinho. Well, the referee is not even going to call him over here, but I think if he hadn't been booked a few moments ago, he would have been shown a yellow card for this tackle.
Well, if that was a yellow card before, which it was, that was a yellow card then, and that's where the consistency angers the management. It really does. And look, whether it was a strong enough tackle to be yellow carded, well, we've just seen that 2 minutes ago. What Liverpool don't want to do is go down to 10 men. I mean, that would make the afternoon more difficult than what it is.
Here's Mitrovic trying to make their afternoon more difficult. Picks up the ball inside the penalty area, but he was offside, the big Serbian striker. Liverpool take the free kick quickly. This is Robertson. Side foots it forward down the touchline to Sadio Mane, the goal scorer. Mane into the penalty area, looks up, weighs up his options, and then crosses blocked by Fosu Mensah. It's going to be a corner kick for Liverpool, their third of the game. He's a real boxer trick, Sadio Mane, so much pace.
Just frightens centre halves to death, especially when he gets inside the 18-yard box. Reluctant to stick a foot in because they know he can move the ball and perhaps buy himself a penalty or get a half yard and get a shot in. All you've got to do is you've got to stay on your feet and hope that there's a little bit of support behind you.
They've gone short with the corner, Liverpool. Robertson with the cross, which is blocked. Alexander-Arnold has come across the near side and plays it into the centre circle of Fabinho. Launched into the penalty area, but more of a hopeful punt than anything else, and it's out of play for a goal kick for Fulham. We trail 1-0. You're listening to Premier League Live. Jurgen Klopp with his mouth covered by a snood, baseball cap, spectacles, looking reasonably content with what he's watched so far. Liverpool, remember, will go back to the top of the Premier League table. They will have played a game more than Manchester City. It will be 2 points ahead of the champions. Here's Alisson for Liverpool, plays it out to the right hand side, and Matip hook forward, but one back by Fulham. They're given away by Seri. Liverpool looking to counter attack, but it was stopped inside the centre circle by Ongiza. Fulham now attacking down their left hand side with Babel, who's been the liveliest of the home players so far. Here is Chambers, employed for most of the season as a midfielder, but back at the heart of the defence today. Given away by Fulham. This is Robertson trying to make the play into Firmino on the edge of the area. The pass was heavy from Firmino back into Robertson. It's behind for a goal kick once more.
I think Jurgen Klopp will go into half time obviously delighted with the 1-0 advantage that his team's given him, but he'll be saying, listen, take a little bit more care, especially when you're on the edge of the box. They've had 4 or 5 good opportunities where just that little bit more finesse with the final ball could have culminated in the second or third goal for Liverpool. But listen, you can't say that Fulham had caused them too many problems in this first half. Yes, a little bit for Ryan Babel.
Foul by Mohamed Salah. He's put the shot wide anyway as he went beyond the Fulham goalkeeper Rico, but had already been penalised for a shove on Ream on the edge of the area. Mane with a little scoop ball over the top. Not sure there was too much in that from Mohamed Salah, maybe just a clash of legs, if anything.
I was just surprised he didn't put it in the back of the net, Alex. It was a foul? It was more of a coming together. It wasn't a blatant foul by Salah, but you still want to see a forward finish. He looks like he's, I mentioned about being in third gear, and that's where it is at the minute. There's so much more in his locker than this.
They may need him to come to the fore between now and the end of the season, the business end of the campaign, very much. Not just for Liverpool, but for Fulham as well. I suppose for Fulham, it's all about building some positive momentum to take into next year.
Oh, without a doubt. Similar situation to Huddersfield. Perhaps knowing that they're both down, trying to build, trying to get a little bit of confidence going into the new season next year in the Championship. And turnover of players, like there always is when Premier League status leaves the football club. You're going to get 2 or 3 players wanting to stay at this level, and you know, you're going to have to clear the books as well to try and get your own players in. The problem is, nobody knows who the Fulham manager's going to be. I mean, it looks like the Huddersfield team know who their manager's going to be, but different challenge for Scott Parker here.
It's going to be a colossal wage bill in the Championship as well, isn't it? The likes of Schürrle, a World Cup winner, Mitrovic, who I'm sure they would be desperate to keep, given his record last season at that level. Just into one added minute at the end of the first half. This is Sadio Mane, the Liverpool goal scorer, into the feet of Fabinho. He spots Alexander-Arnold bombing forward on the right. His cross again is dealt with comfortably enough, and well, there goes the half-time whistle. As so often this season, it's all about the Mane for Liverpool. Their man in form has come up with another huge goal as Jurgen Klopp sprints across the Craven Cottage turf back to the sanctuary of the dressing room. Liverpool halfway to returning to the Premier League summit. At the break at Craven Cottage, it is Fulham 0, Liverpool 1. You are listening to Premier League Live.
The Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Joining us on the preview show, the former Arsenal striker and most stylish man in football, Jeremy Aliadier. I didn't want him here, but he's turned up anyway, is the former Chelsea man, Clive Walker.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2.
Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance! Vardy goal! Leicester City, out of nowhere, have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
This is Premier League Live.
Welcome back to Premier League Live and our coverage of Fulham against Liverpool from Craven Cottage. Liverpool, remember, with the chance to go ahead of the champions Manchester City at the top of the Premier League table. An opportunity so far they're not passing up. Robertson hurdles the challenge from Fosu Mensah into the penalty area. Plenty of options in red, and he's passed it straight into the gloves of a grateful Sergio Rico. Here is Mane now into the Fulham penalty area. Finds Firmino on the byline, cuts it back, and Sadio Mane gives Liverpool the lead. 26 minutes gone at Craven Cottage. They went through the Fulham defence like a knife through butter, and there was Sadio Mane to score his 11th goal in his last 12 matches. Yeah, Sadio Mane continuing his red-hot scoring form. Liverpool 1-0 up and coasting, in truth, Sean Derrick.
Yeah, they are. They've absolutely, I said, played in third gear. They have. It's just been enough for them this afternoon. Fulham have been really disappointing. The only real bright spark in their performance has been Ryan Babel. Mitrovic doesn't want to get anywhere near Van Dijk. They don't want to put Liverpool under any pressure, even aerially, just to try and change the game. Liverpool have had so much ball. Both the fullbacks are playing as wingers, and that's the only thing I would probably say is if Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold were just to find a little bit more quality in the final third, this could end up 3 or 4.
And in terms of Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp won't be overly enamoured with the performance. Just said to the producer off air, maybe it might even take a Fulham goal to wake Liverpool up and get them playing as we know they are truly capable of.
He'll be aware that it only takes a set piece, Alex. A corner, a free kick where perhaps one or two of his team just turn off because they're not under any kind of pressure this afternoon, and sometimes that can be worrying for a manager, knowing that the game's so easy that they take liberties. And that's the problem that Jurgen Klopp will be saying to this team in the second half. Keep switched on, keep purposeful in the way that you're playing, keep the game quick, because as soon as it slows down, then that causes a big problem.
Let's have a look at some of the tweets we've been receiving in the first half. At TalkSport Live, a reminder, is our Twitter address. Omajola says, good evening, guys. My prediction is Fulham 0, Liverpool 3. Liverpool have got their goal. They can now settle down and rack up the goal difference if they so desire. Fulham have been well below par this season with all the money spent on transfers. Enjoying the commentary from a sunny Lagos over in Nigeria. That's from Neki. That's a good point, actually, when it's so congested, so tight at the top of the table. Goal difference could play a huge part come May.
Absolutely. I mean, there's one free scoring team in the Premier League, who's obviously just scoring at will, and that's Manchester City. But Liverpool have got that capability. They've got the front three are as good as anywhere in Europe. They really are. And they have got that capability of scoring 3 or 4 this afternoon. But they need to play better than they have done in the first 45 minutes.
Hi from Brazil, folks. A full word for Player of the Year. How about Mane top this year? He also says his first ever league game was at Craven Cottage. Leeds won 4-1 and beat Liverpool to the title. Fulham were relegated. That's from Robin Redshanks. Sadio Mane, an outside contender with the form he's in?
Well, he'll be in the top 3 or 4, won't he? Because he's been outstanding. Can you look? It's Aguero. He's been amazing for Manchester City. There's been some great players in the Premier League. Mane is one of them. I mean, we're blessed, aren't we, in this, in this country to see some top players playing in the Premier League.
Always nice to know where you are listening. Good morning from Grand Island, Nebraska. It's football time in the cornfields. Yeehaw, roll on Liverpool. Thanks to Warren for giving us that image. At TalkSport Live, once again, is our Twitter address. There is another match to come this afternoon on the network. Everton against Chelsea here on Premier League Live. Let's hear from the two managers ahead of kick-off, Maurizio Sarri and Marco Silva.
It was a big mistake if the big frustration for us will be with the referee when we were 2-0 leading the match. Even if you were not leading the match, what you can control during one match is our job and ourselves, and of course the big frustration has to be with ourselves, and after we can look for the other situation.
I think that mentally is a very difficult match because we can undervalue the match, the opponents. I know very well that they are really very dangerous. I saw the other matches in Europa League, and they played a very good football. They played very well in the last match here against the Olympiacos.
They are really strong with that front line, with the players they have in the middle zone also. The quality, individual quality they have, and in their process also, and their quality process also. But you are here playing at Goodison, and if you have achieved the good result against them away, you are able, and with confidence you can achieve maybe better at home with our fans, with the atmosphere we expect at Goodison again. they can push us to achieve the 3 points and to try to get the 3 points. More or less, we gave away the last game.
It's a very dangerous match for us. We need to go on the pitch with the target to win the match, not to qualify. Otherwise, we can go in trouble. So our target is to win the match, the qualification as a consequence.
Maurizio Sarri and Marco Silva there ahead of Everton against Chelsea. Kick-off at 4:30 at Goodison Park. Sean Derry, how do you see that one going?
I think it's a big game for Everton. I've got to say, and I know obviously if Chelsea win the game, they're going back into the top four, which will be brilliant for Sarri, especially after the recent couple of weeks that he's had. But I don't know. If I'm honest, I don't really know what Everton's all about at this moment in time. You know, they are a big club. They are a club that, you know, they've been right on the edge of the top six in recent years, but I'm just not a massive fan. I've got to be honest with you. I don't know where the season's going to go from this stage forward. I think it's a big afternoon for them.
Well, you can hear how the afternoon unfolds here on Premier League Live. John Anderson and the former Everton goalkeeper Steve Simonson will be your commentators for that game after we've brought you the second half of Fulham against Liverpool, the title contenders. 1-0 up at the break. Will they hold on to that lead? You'll find out very shortly. You are listening to Premier League Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much. Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends a shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's running himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester.
Vardy chance! Vardy goal! Leicester City, out of nowhere, have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League preview show with TalkSport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
He's put down the dumbbells and has turned up here for the show. Chris Iwelumo is on the preview show. A Premier League winner, Paul Parker, joins us on the Premier League preview show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Fulham against Liverpool from Craven Cottage. I'm your host Alex Crook. Alongside me is the former Leeds and Queen's Park Rangers midfielder Sean Derry. This is Premier League Live. Liverpool leading by a Sadio Mane goal to nil. The Senegalese has now overtaken his countryman Demba Ba as the Senegalese player with the most goals in a single Premier League campaign. 17 in this competition to 16 from Demba Ba. It's his goal that separates the two sides. 9 goals in the calendar year in the Premier League. Only Sergio Aguero can match that record, but Sean Derry, Jurgen Klopp will be asking for a little bit more in terms of urgency and in terms of ruthlessness from his side in this second half.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they've hit anywhere near the levels that they can play at. And he'll just say to them, listen, you could put this game to bed in half an hour. If you have a real full-blown half an hour where you're the best that you possibly can be, you could go and score 2 or 3 easily and put the game well without reach of Fulham this afternoon.
Well, no change in personnel at half-time. So Fulham continue with Rico in goal, Fosu-Mensah, Chambers, Ream and Bryan in front of him. Seri, Kearney and Ongiza in midfield. Aite and Babel either side of Mitrovic up front for Liverpool. Alisson the goalkeeper, Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Matip and Robertson. And it's Wijnaldum, Fabinho has been booked, Lallana in midfield, Salah, Firmino and the goal scorer Mane up front. Fulham in the white shirts, black shorts, white socks, shooting from right to left in the second half. Liverpool all in red, shooting from left to right.
Not seen that too many times before, a foul throw at Premier League level.
Inexcusable, really. Ream heads it forward for Fulham, picked up inside the centre circle by the red-headed Babel. Here is Callum Chambers, forward by Fosu-Mensah, gets it back from Kearney. Chambers again, out to Fosu-Mensah, the Manchester United loanee. This is Ongiza. Possession from Fulham, but sideways passing really. They've gone all the way back to Chambers inside the D on the edge of their own penalty area. His clearance is picked off by Fabinho. Here's Firmino looking for Salah, might fall kindly for Lallana. It was a really good challenge actually by Chambers to Lallana. His former Southampton team made a strike on goal.
It was a fantastic recovery challenge there by Chambers. It was just a little bit of a pinball on the edge of the 18-yard box, and he read the situation fantastically well and perhaps saved the second goal for Liverpool.
Here is Lallana trying to tiptoe into some space inside the penalty area. Wijnaldum drives it across the face of goal, and Firmino tried to help it into the back of the net but couldn't make a clean enough contact, and it's gathered by the grateful Rico. Good play from Lallana, dancing his way through.
It was brilliant feat, just seamlessly goes past players in tight areas. Adam Lallana, left foot, right foot, uses his body really well, and there's just a kind of a cross-come shot by Wijnaldum, and Firmino just getting in between the sticks, and I think it was Fosu-Mensah at the back stick, just got himself in front of the line of the ball, and again they're treading the luck really early in this second half. Fulham are.
Liverpool coming forward again here with Fabinho, switches the play out to right where Alexander-Arnold is in a raft of space. It's his cross towards the far post, but he got right under the ball and hammers it into the Liverpool fans behind the goal.
Wow. Well, we question the quality of the deliveries into the box from the fullbacks in the first half, but that's probably the worst of the game. He's got a lot more quality than that, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and the manager knows that, and he knows that as well. Fullbacks now in the modern day have become major players. They really are. A lot of the delivery into the final third comes from them, so they need to work on their crossing a little bit better in the second half, them two fullbacks.
Liverpool unbeaten in 11 matches. That's their best run of the season. Last defeat was a 2-1 FA Cup third round exit at the hands of Wolverhampton Wanderers back on January the 7th. Haven't gone 12 games unbeaten since January of 2018. Looking pretty good to extend that record this afternoon. They lead 1-0. Fulham passing the ball out of play with Seri. Waves an apologetic right arm. It will be a throw-in for Liverpool, which Trent Alexander-Arnold will take down this right touchline, the near touchline as we look. Still a good atmosphere inside Craven Cottage. The home fans doing their best to urge their team forward. A pretty vocal following from Merseyside as well over in the right hand side of the ground. Offside flag up against Seri, so a free kick for Liverpool, high towards the halfway line. Don't forget later Everton against Chelsea, John Anderson and Steve Simonson, new commentary team for that one. He's the last run of Premier League matches before the international break, when players from both these sides will be jetting to far-flung corners of the globe. Lallana plucks the ball from the sky inside the centre circle. Here is Alexander-Arnold accelerating towards the Fulham penalty area, looking for Mane at the far post. Mane brings it down inside the penalty area. He's got Fosu-Mensah blocking his way to goal, so rolls it forward for Robertson. His cross is blocked for a throw-in over on the far side. That attack had a bit of purpose, Sean Derrick.
It did. It was a delightful ball by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Just what we've seen all year from him. You know, he's been really consistent in his supply into the box, and it was just that opportunity where he's lifted his head up and just clipped it to the back stick. I was surprised Mane didn't take it first time. You know, he's perhaps misread it, perhaps doing him a little bit of disjustice there, but pulled really nicely on the back stick and off a chance for them there.
Liverpool have kept 17 clean sheets in the Premier League this season, more than any other club. They're looking for a second goal here. Firmino's shot blocked by Chambers. They can keep a clean sheet this afternoon. The points will be theirs. The ball is back at the feet of their brilliant Brazilian goalkeeper Alisson. What a difference Sean Derry he's made to this Liverpool team.
Oh, he has. I mean, as well as Liverpool have been over the last 2 or 3 years, you know, respectfully with the goalkeepers that they had.
Well, Mane goes down under a challenge inside the area. The cross from the left-hand side, headed over by Wijnaldum.
Good start to the second half. Really good start. A lot of balls into the box, a lot of bodies in the box as well, and Fulham back four are really under pressure here.
It's a good challenge by Mensah, but the ball fell kindly for Robertson, who wasted no time, picked out by Wijnaldum at the far stick, and his header from inside the 6-yard box over the crossbar. Watching a replay of the challenge, not sure how much of the ball Fosu-Mensah got actually. The second viewing, but that just shows how difficult it is for officials.
Oh, absolutely. You wouldn't want to be a ref with a black shirt on, that's for sure. You know, you don't get any thanks.
Here's Babel for Fulham. Not seen too much of the home side as an attacking force in this second half. Very much one-way traffic in the opening 6 minutes. Fosu-Mensah trying to change that. Aite with a heavy touch has gifted possession to Robertson, who quickly rolls it forward to Firmino. Now Lallana, 15 yards outside the penalty area. Robertson continues his run over on the byline. Here he is, the Scotsman. Checks back to Fabinho. An air of calm authority about Liverpool's play this afternoon. They are a side at one with each other, seemingly. Here is Fabinho now, 10 yards inside the Fulham half. He switches the play out to the right, and once again Trent Alexander-Arnold all on his own on the touchline. Crosses, left-footed, lovely ball, nipped off the head of Lallana by Aite, and it will be a corner for Liverpool, but somebody, Sean Derry, has got to get closer to Trent Alexander-Arnold on this right-hand side.
They have, and the problem you've got is that the most effective attacking player is now playing as a left-back for Fulham, and that's Ryan Babel. He wants to be playing in the final third. He doesn't want to be defending, but unfortunately this afternoon he's got to do them kind of duties. He really has, and he's just switching off. He's allowing Trent Alexander-Arnold to get beyond him and causing his problems for his own side.
Corner kick which Trent Alexander-Arnold will take over on the left-hand side. Matip rising in the far post, but he just swirled away from him, behind for a goal kick. It was a good delivery from Alexander-Arnold, plenty of whip on it. Matip just couldn't get close enough to the ball.
It was a great delivery, it really was. I mean, I was surprised Bobby Firmino didn't gamble and get to the back stick. It was a tap-in.
Liverpool have finished 4th place in the Premier League in each of the last 2 seasons, looking to make a significant stride forward. as the rain teems down at Craven Cottage.
Absolutely.
Monsoon conditions.
The rain's down, the wind's here. You know, Liverpool are firmly in position A to get this win this afternoon, and very difficult.
Van Dijk has found Alexander-Arnold again by the right corner flag, and he's flashed the cross right across the face of goal. It just went behind before coming back in. It will be a goal kick, but sooner or later, if he's afforded the time and space that he has been early in the second half, Alexander-Arnold is going to find a telling delivery.
He is. I mean, we've just seen a great 60-yard crossfield pass by Virgil van Dijk there. I mean, he's got everything. He has in possession. He's cultured. He's skillful. He's got an eye for a pass. Defensively, you know, we know nobody can get past him at this stage. Just looking at the goal kick there, chance.
Yeah, it was a poor goal kick, picked off by Liverpool, but Salah miscontrols on the edge of the penalty area. That allows Fulham to clear. Here's Robertson now, making his way back towards the box, looking for Firmino at the far post, and Chambers this time with a vital intervention to nod the ball behind for a corner. That was almost bang on the money from Andrew Robertson.
Fulham just can't get out, can they? They're pinned in, the weather's not helping, the quality that Liverpool have got is causing them problems. The second goal's just round the corner for me.
Alexander-Arnold takes the short corner this time. Lallana to Fabinho, going to hang this up towards the far post. Van Dijk across the face of goal and punched away by Rico. Just needed any kind of contact from a Liverpool player in the middle. It would have been 2-0.
Big save by Rico, keeps his team in it.
Here's Salah though, into Wijnaldum on the edge of the penalty. He's passed it behind Van Dijk. They've got a lot of men forward here, Liverpool. Can Fulham take advantage? Aite into Kearney, wasn't the best of passes, and then Aite has shoved Lallana in the back. It's a free kick on the halfway line. Even when they do get the chance to hit Liverpool on the break, they just don't have the quality, do they, to make the most of it?
No, they don't. You know, brilliant save by Rico, it really was. Van Dijk's just got himself at the back stick.
I don't think he's trying to score, is he? I think he's just trying to nod it into a dangerous area.
He made the right call, he did. I mean, it would have been a real hard angle for him to try and score, so he's kind of glanced it across the face of goal, and Fulham goalkeeper's kept his team in it there. But going back to Fulham and how they can't get out of this this half that they're playing on, reason being is Kearney and Seri, they're not keeping possession. Every time they've been given possession, they're giving it away. It must be so frustrating for Mitrovic.
57 minutes gone, Fulham 0, Liverpool 1. Don't forget, the best way to look ahead to a Premier League weekend is by subscribing to TalkSport's Premier League Preview Show podcast. That's available every Thursday. Tom Rennie and his assembled cast of former Premier League players giving their expert views ahead of the big matches. Some huge games to come for Liverpool. 7 to go after this afternoon. They are tantalisingly close to a first league title since 1990. Will the long wait finally come to an end? It's going to be fascinating to see how this two-way tussle for the title pans out. You'll hear it live, every twist and turn on Premier League Live. Here is Alexander-Arnold running at Ryan Babel in the right wing position, back to Wijnaldum, and now Fabinho. Love to see the possession stats this second half. It must be about 80% in Liverpool's favour. Here's Robertson. Haven't so far managed to score the second goal that surely would take it away from Fulham. Mane to Salah, 10 yards outside the area. Salah dribbles his way, can't get through. Here come Fulham again on the counter-attack. Aite looking to release Mitrovic, who's barely touched the ball, and Van Dijk there ahead of him, just calmly side-foots it back to his goalkeeper, Alisson.
It's like a training ground exercise, this, is it? It's defence v attack.
And there's a slip on the edge of the Fulham area by Brian. On the floor, manages to hook the ball away from the feet of Mohamed Salah. Then Brian launches it forward down this left-hand side. Wijnaldum wins it back for Liverpool, and then Alexander-Arnold concedes a throw. Longer it stays at 1-0 though, Sean, the more nervy Liverpool may become, and only needs one mistake or one moment of magic from Fulham to change the course of the game and maybe their season.
Well, we've seen it before, games like this. And I've played in these kind of games myself where you've been right on the back foot, like you say, a set play, a penalty.
Mane looking for Salah.
Somebody just turning off at the wrong time, and it could go against you. But a little bit of quality. Just again, we spoke about that in the first half. The front three for Liverpool are big players, and just the touches slightly off this afternoon.
And Mohamed Salah again, not quite at his brilliant best, is he?
He's not, and he's got this languid style as well, which sometimes, if he's not in full form, looks a little bit strange, a little bit weird.
They will need him firing between now and the end of the season, that is for sure. Here is Wijnaldum out to Alexander-Arnold, the right wing back. I say right wing back, he's supposed to be a right back, but he hasn't had too much defending to do this afternoon. Wijnaldum stretches to keep the ball in play and then was fouled by Bryan. Free kick for Liverpool, a couple of yards in from the touchline. Alexander-Arnold takes it short, back into his own half, and Matip. It's been so comfortable for Liverpool, almost too comfortable. They haven't had to play anywhere near their best to keep Fulham at arm's length. We could have a shot, by the way, in the FA Cup. But Millwall have taken the lead against Brighton. 20 minutes to go in that one. Alex Pearce with the goal for Millwall.
They have become a cup side, haven't they? They're in a fight for staying in the Championship, but the FA Cup has been a brilliant release for them.
Was it 2003 they reached the final, lost to Manchester United in Cardiff?
Yeah, they did, yeah, and they've had a couple of decent runs since then, and this is what we spoke about.
Yeah, corner kick for Fulham back here. Virgil van Dijk having to clear the ball into touch, the Liverpool captain, as the rain gets heavier. Hailstones now hammering against the two sets of players' shirts. Gloriously sunny this morning when we kicked off. Fulham's first corner, they go short to Kearney. Seri then to Aite. Just need to get the ball into the penalty area, surely here, with the likes of Mitrovic to aim at. He's brought it down on the chest, Mitrovic. And then he's given it away. What a waste.
I can't believe that.
And here comes Salah on the counter-attack. Maybe to compound the misery. Salah into the area, brilliant defending by Ream. Alexander-Arnold going to try and keep it alive down the right-hand side.
And that's where Scott Parker will be absolutely furious with his team. He would have mentioned that at half-time, Alex. You will get one opportunity. You will get one passage of play where you've got to make it count. It might come from a set play. Exactly what we've just seen there. What do his team do? Play it short.
Why didn't they put it into the penalty area?
That's players for you, Alex. Honestly, sometimes, even at the highest level, what we're watching now, the inconsistency in their decision making, it drives you mad as a coach, as a manager. It really does. But somebody on that football pitch, whether that's Mitrovic or whether that's Kearney, has got to take control of that situation and say, no, we've worked on this all week, the ball's going into the 6-yard box.
Alexander-Arnold unable to control the ball down by the corner flag, so it's a throw in for Fulham. Bryan shoves Alexander-Arnold out of the way, wanted to take the throw quickly. Heavy patches of mud appearing now on the touchline. I think Fulham are readying a change. Here is Lallana. He's got Mane to his left. Robertson on the overlap as always. Robertson just on the edge of the penalty area. Thought about the cross, then pulled it back instead for Fabinho. And this is Firmino in the right wing position. Low pass is intercepted by Kearney. Fulham passing their way out of trouble here. Seri into the feet of Aite. He's got men ahead of him and he's got away from Matip. Babel to his right, Mitrovic to the left hand side. This is Mitrovic into the area. Aite has continued his run in the middle. Could be a chance here for Fulham, but Liverpool have got plenty men back. Shot from Anguissa, deflected and in! But the offside flag is up, it won't count. Well, Liverpool hearts are in their mouths for a moment. The shot from the edge of the penalty area from Andre Anguissa. And I think it was actually headed into the back of the net by Aite, but he was in an offside position. Referee's got that one spot on. Only the assistant on the far side, but there's the warning sign for Liverpool, Sean Derry.
Absolutely. There's your warning sign. You mentioned it. It takes one missed opportunity or one set of players just turning off at the wrong time, and what I will say is that was the best passage of play that Fulham have had. You know, played forward, played quick, combination play, 2 or 3 players. They've been guilty this afternoon of giving the ball away in the final third just by having that one killer pass that perhaps hasn't gone to the right man. Not then. They had 2 or 3 passes, worked their way into the final third and got their opportunity, and that has to act as a warning sign for Jurgen Klopp's team.
For the first time, though, all afternoon, Mitrovic actually looked like he wanted to make something happen in the penalty area.
Yeah, I mean, possibly he could have got a shot off himself with his left foot, but he didn't. But he was, you know, kept the ball alive and picked out the right pass, and it's been a frustrating afternoon for him. It really has, but he just might get a chance in this final 25 minutes.
Fulham have made a change, by the way. It's an attacking one. Ryan Sessegnon has come on for Jean-Michel Seri. Sessegnon, who earlier this season became the first player born this millennium to score in the Premier League. We've put a yellow card here. Andre Franck kicking out at Fabinho. That makes you feel old, Sean Derry, doesn't it?
I look at the players nowadays and they're a different breed, they really are, but Sessegnon's one of the youngest players to play in the Premier League, and you definitely won't remember me and my sideways and backwards passing, that's for sure.
He's another, isn't he, who's had a tough season. It's been difficult for him to translate the form of the Championship promotion winning season. Here is the free kick for Liverpool. Salah looking for Van Dijk in the area. Mitrovic heads it only as far as Firmino. Plenty of red shirts forward. Firmino's going to try and cross it here. It's a good delivery as well. Salah was climbing. It's turned behind. Really good defending by Ongiza. They're claiming a foul by Fosu Mensah on Wijnaldum. Those two are at loggerheads just at the moment. We've got a replay now. It is going to be a corner. Liverpool wanted a penalty. Firmino with a left-footed ball scooped to the far post. I think he did well there, Fosu Mensah. I don't think it was a foul.
Yeah, it's a challenge that the Fulham right back needed to make at the right time. It's a brilliant header at the far post. Kept him side in it, definitely.
Corner for Liverpool. They're 6 to the afternoon. 67 minutes in to the game at Craven Cottage. They lead 1-0. Alexander-Arnold to the near post. Matip kept the ball in play, but that's about all he did do, and Fulham have cleared now and can counter. Ryan Babel with the pace, it's 3-on-2. Needs a good pass here, Babel. Mohamed Salah, of all people, back there defending. He's still going, Babel, into the feet of Aite. Aite shifts onto his left foot, shoots, it's blocked. Sessegnon into the area. This is much better from Fulham. Ball cleared again by Liverpool, only as far as Ongiza, who drives one in. Good save down low to his right by Alisson.
Oh, Alex, the chance went just in the break. As soon as it broke from the Liverpool corner kick, Babels is driving at the Liverpool back four. He's got Robertson 1v1 and he's made the wrong decision and he's gone out wide to Aita. And the chance really left Fulham at that moment then. It ended up being a good save by Alisson, but they've had 2 chances in this last 3 minutes and they're growing into this game.
Liverpool are going to have to fight for the win. Fulham coming on strongly in this second half. Fosu Mensah well forward now. And the home fans, like the players out in the white shirts, just beginning to warm to the task on this dank and dreary Sunday afternoon. Sessegnon gives the ball away cheaply to Wijnaldum, and Wijnaldum straight away looking to use the pace of Mane to launch a rapid counter-attack. Callum Chambers did really well against Mane, the Liverpool goal scorer, and then Fosu Mensah hammered the clearance against Robertson, but it bounces back and strikes Fosu Mensah. It's going to be a throw for Liverpool, and Tom Kearney's in a bit of trouble here, lying flat on his back. He's feeling his groin, Kearney, being attended to by the referee Craig Pawson. That would be a blow for Fulham as they look to try and forage an equaliser in these final 21 minutes of what is shaping up to be an intriguing contest. A reminder, coming up later, we will have Everton against Chelsea. Looks like Divock Origi and Jordan Henderson, James Milner, are being readied by Jurgen Klopp.
Just seen body language slightly changed for Jurgen Klopp on the sideline, looking a lot more animated this second half, making the decision to bring on 2 substitutions because he's seen his team have just been left open this last 3 or 4 minutes. 1 or 2 opportunities for Fulham, like I said, grown into the game, and perhaps Milner's going to go on and just calm the team down once again and take the sting out of this game.
James Milner, one of the heroes in Bavaria in midweek. Such a reliable foot soldier for Jurgen Klopp. Will be coming on next time there's a break in play. Looks like Kearney will be okay to continue, just being sent back on by the Fulham physio. This is Trent Alexander-Arnold, 12 yards outside the box. Good cross towards Fabinho in the middle. Just curled away from the head of the Argentine, and of the Brazilian, and it will now be a goal kick for Fulham. Don't get your Brazilians and Argentines mixed up. Won't make you too popular in South America. 20 minutes to go. Fulham 0, Liverpool 1. Sergio Rico takes the goal kick for Fulham, looking for Babel, but Wijnaldum wins the header on halfway, and now Salah out-muscling Ream. He's into the area, Salah. Ream got back at him, but again, I think the Mohamed Salah of last season would have taken that shot on left-footed and gone for goal. Looked a bit confident short there, and here's Babel looking for Mitrovic, wouldn't quite hold up for him, and Alisson comes out to the edge of the area and clears for Liverpool. Open game now, Sean.
It is an open game. We didn't see this coming at half time at all.
Here's Robertson, powerful run down the left hand side. He's won his team a corner.
It's more of a basketball game, it really is. It's end to end. It's opened up. It's exactly what we want to be seeing. We don't want to be seeing a team who's just going to completely take control of a game. We want it to be back and forth.
Origi is coming on for Roberto Firmino. Only 3 goals this season for Origi, but he did score that crucial late winner against Everton in the Merseyside derby at Anfield after the mistake from Pickford. Firmino is carrying the captain's armband over to the touchline because he's going to pass it on to James Milner, who will also be coming on along with Origi.
I can see this change. I can add, as brilliant as the front 3 have been for Liverpool this season. I know Mane's got his goal this afternoon, and it could have been Firmino, it could have been Salah coming off for any of the substitutions, and Lallana leaving the pitch now for James Milner. Again, just to settle the game down. Perhaps Milner will sit slightly closer to Fabinho and just take the sting out of this game. It's become, like I said, more of a back and forth game rather than Liverpool taking full control like they did in the first half.
Second goal was still killing off, you feel, for Liverpool. 18 minutes remain. They've got a corner. Alexander-Arnold again over on the left-hand side, right-footed in-swinger. On a header onto the crossbar. Sadio Mane almost helping himself to goal number 2 of the afternoon. A wicked delivery from Alexander-Arnold. Mane with the faintest of contacts. It was heading for all the world into the top corner, but Fulham saved by the frame of the goal.
Great delivery once again by Alexander-Arnold. He's got a wonder of a right foot, he really has, and Mane's just moved from the 6-yard box, cut across to the near post. And it was one of them situations where you've got a forward marking on the near post, not aware of what's around him. Babel just turned his body the wrong way and it's clipped the top of the bar, and a lot of good quality balls coming in from the Liverpool fullbacks this second half.
17 minutes to go. Fulham have made a change. Cyrus Christie replacing Fosu Mensah. What a mistake by Van Dijk, has played in Babel, and Virgil van Dijk has gifted Fulham the equaliser, and it's Ryan Babel against his former club. He refuses to celebrate, but he may just have put a dagger through the heart of Liverpool's Premier League title hopes. Incredibly, Virgil van Dijk is the culprit, and it's Fulham 1, Liverpool 1.
Wow. Even robots make mistakes. Can you believe this? The standout centre-half of the Premier League has just cost his game cost this game for Liverpool, possibly cost the title run into. Unbelievable scenes here at Fulham. You cannot comprehend the mistake that Van Dijk's made here. Lack of communication, lack of quality made by the best Liverpool player this year. You just can't write the script sometimes.
And you can't help but cast your mind back to that famous Steven Gerrard speech after they'd beaten Norwich when they were last challenging for the title. No more slip-ups. And then he promptly fell over. Demba Ba scored for Chelsea and Liverpool never recovered. I wonder, Virgil van Dijk, first of all he wanted the goalkeeper to come and collect the ball, then he tried to head it back into the goalkeeper's arms. It bounced off Alisson, and Babel, with the simplest of tasks, to just smuggle the ball home from inside the 6-yard box.
Just a situation that he's probably had thousands of times this season. A routine head back to his goalkeeper, and you just can't write the script. You really can't. I mean,
this is why we love the Premier League, Sean Derrick.
Absolutely. The pressure these players are playing under, even on a game like this afternoon where you think it's a foregone conclusion. It never is.
Here's Ongeza for Fulham. Win very much in their sails now. Christie with a cross, looking for Babel again over his head, and Alexander-Arnold will collect the ball down by the right corner flag, and then he sliced his clearance upfield into the stands.
Liverpool have to get through this moment. They really do. Klopp can't believe it on the sideline. He's looking at his team saying, what has happened? We was in complete control for the first 73 minutes, and look what has happened to my team.
Nerves are jangling. That is for sure. Liverpool, who've drawn their last 3 away games at West Ham, Manchester United and Everton, haven't drawn 4 in a row since 1996. And they're being put under pressure here. This time Alisson comes and catches the ball on the edge of the penalty area, bowls it out quickly to Robertson. Liverpool need a bit more urgency now for the final 14 minutes. I wonder where Pep Guardiola is watching this one. Maybe as we've got an international break, he's flown back to his native Spain and is listening to us.
Let's hope he is. If you are, Pep, welcome to this afternoon's game. It's been a remarkable turn of events this last 5 minutes. He's probably got his slippers on, having a nice cup of tea, watching with a massive grin on his face as well, Alex.
Liverpool in the fight, not just for the title, but for 3 points this afternoon. That looked unthinkable at half-time when they were so dominant. What a balmy weekend we've had in the Premier League. Here is Salah. Gets his cross into the area, but it's safely gathered at the near post by Sergio Rico. So many late twists and turns in the games yesterday, as we've already alluded to. Are we going to get more late drama here? Credit to Fulham just for staying in the game during that first half when Liverpool were definitely the dominant force, and they have stepped it up, Fulham, in this second period, no doubt about that. They've been rewarded with the error from Van Dijk, gifting Brian Babel his second goal in Fulham colours. How often do we see it when a player scores against his former club? It's the unwritten rule of football, isn't it?
Well, it is, and the lack of celebration on Ryan Babel probably told a story of his respect for this football club. But listen, he's playing for Fulham, he's got a job to do, and he's done that this afternoon. We said he was a threat. I mean, we didn't think he'd score in the manner that he did, but he has been that standout player for Fulham, and fair play to him. He's definitely done his job this afternoon.
11 minutes to go. Fulham 1, Liverpool 1. Robertson brings the ball down the chest. He's going to get the cross in here towards Mohamed Salah. Excellent defending by Brian, facing his own goal, heads it clear under pressure from the Egyptian. They have defended well at times, Fulham, as well.
They have.
Has been a problem for them this season. Here's Milner now. Alexander-Arnold in space to his right. Milner switches it out to the left-hand side and Robertson instead. Robertson thought about the cross, rolls it into the stride of Origi. Origi shot deflected and over the bar. I think it will be a corner. Suddenly Liverpool looking threatening. Good block from Ongeza. 7th corner they've had this afternoon. The last one from Mane hit the crossbar. There are people literally praying in the away end. Here is Alexander-Arnold. That was a poor delivery, headed behind by Ream.
Them Liverpool fans, honestly, they will not believe what has happened. Just an utter look of shock on the thousands of fans in that away end. They really can't believe what's happened. The team that have been so brilliant throughout the course of this season have just had a moment of madness that could cost them the title.
Short corner this time from Alexander-Arnold. Robertson with a cross from outside the penalty area, headed clear and then smashed upfield for Babel to try and chase. Alisson's come all the way out to the halfway line, sweeper keeper, and he plays it forward for Robertson once more. The ball chipped into the box. Salah in some space at the far post, goes for goal. Oh, it's dropped by Rico, and then he's pulled Mane to the ground, and it's a penalty for Liverpool. Sergio Rico, what were you thinking?
Well, firstly, he should have catched Salah's shot. I mean, it was a routine shot for him. He's had a good afternoon, Rico. He's dropped it at the feet of Mane,
and then he's pulled him to the floor.
You can't comprehend that. You cannot be making them mistakes. You really can't.
Well, what a big moment. James Milner, usually so reliable from 12 yards, the Liverpool captain, against Rico, who can go from villain to hero here. Here comes Milner, and it's a captain's goal for Liverpool. It could be a huge one come the end of the season. Delirious scenes of celebration in the away end. Is that the goal that puts Liverpool back on top of the Premier League? James Milner, the calmest man inside the cottage. He just stroked it down the centre of goal and makes it Fulham 1, Liverpool 2.
It's a brilliant penalty by James Milner. Gave Rico the eyes. He's had to make a judgment call. He's dived right and he's gone straight down the middle of the goal. And listen, you've got to say that over the course of 81 minutes they have deserved this lead, but they've really been let off the hook by the terrible decision of Rico. It was an awful decision.
Well, James Milner will have settled some of the nerves there, and Liverpool have an incredible record. He has an incredible record. He hasn't been on the losing side, Sean, in the 50 Premier League matches that he's scored in. If that goes on, Liverpool are going to be top of the tree tonight.
I mean, he's just a really assured player. I mean, you wouldn't want anybody else in this Liverpool team to take that penalty. He's been fantastic for all the clubs that he's played at. You know, he's still a major player for the Reds.
Now, Fulham have brought on Neeskens Cabano, as they can see. Corner number 10. The cameras pan in on Sergio Rico. What a howler from the Sevilla loanee. Scott Parker crouching on his knees inside the technical area. Won't believe what he's seen in the second half. The calamitous nature of Fulham's equaliser, equalled by Rico at the other end. And here comes the corner. Robertson punched by Rico. That's not the best bit of goalkeeping either, up in the air. It's been a big problem for Fulham this season. They haven't got a goalkeeper that you can put any kind of faith in, have they?
I mean, some of the decisions that we've seen Rico make in this last 10 or 15 minutes, coming just like we've seen there, punching when he should be catching, lack of communication with his back four. Some of his kicking's been temperamental as well. I mean, as a back four, as any kind of defender, you need confidence behind you, and this is why teams like Fulham and Huddersfield find themselves at the bottom of the league, because unless your defence are all together, and we made massive compliments to Ream and Chambers, but when the goalkeeper makes a decision like that, you can't legislate for that as a manager. You can work all week, Alex, you can do all the drills, all the videos, you never talk about things like that.
Here's Wijnaldum for Liverpool, crossing to the far post, kept in by the wind, and Origi with a chance to have a run at Christie. Origi Puts the ball into the penalty area, stabbed away by Niskins Cabano, the substitute. A little back heel from Alexander-Arnold, now by Nowden. Liverpool content just to keep the ball. 6 minutes of this extraordinary second half remain. Fulham 1, Liverpool 2. Here on Premier League Live, Everton against Chelsea on the way next. It's half as dramatic as this one. You're in for quite the listen, in the company of John Anderson and Steve Simonson, the former Everton goalkeeper. Here's Wijnaldum shooting for the edge of the area, just wide. Good technique from the Dutchman. Let's fly from inside the D.
What
Trying
goal
to pick out the
been.
bottom corner. Just curled away at the last moment. I think maybe Rico had it covered, although with Rico you never quite know, do you?
True Liverpool build-up play there.
Mane putting Chambers under pressure. He has to clear into the stand. Callum Chambers from inside his own penalty area.
He's played well, Callum Chambers. Him and Tim Reen and Babel, been 3 positives for Scott Parker this afternoon.
But there's Liverpool at the moment who are going to be going home with the points and who are going to move 2 points clear of Manchester City in this enthralling title race. Here is James Milner to Fabinho. Milner plays it back to Virgil van Dijk. This time manages to find his goalkeeper Alisson. He took a bit of a chance under pressure from Babel, playing it back out to Van Dijk. And he needed a touch off Babel there. They've been in trouble, Liverpool. Diving header away by Reen. It's picked up now in the left back position by Joe Bryan. Does well to get away from Wijnaldum and then find Mitrovic. Here is Chambers. Well, I'm not done yet, maybe. Chambers on the edge of the centre circle. Back to Reen. Now Anguissa comes forward. He's had a good second half in that midfield area. Anguissa into the feet of Nabano. Here he is again. Anguissa over on the right touchline. Back to halfway. Good spell of possession this from Fulham, but Liverpool have got everybody back behind the ball. Defending manfully. Bryan trying to release Sessegnon. Important challenge on the slide from Alexander-Arnold, but then the clearance has been hammered against Sessegnon. It's fallen kindly for Anguissa. Aite forced back to the halfway line by Milner, and it's collected by Mane. He's got Salah up in support to his left. Milner during the attack. Is this the moment for Salah? Shoot straight to the goalkeeper.
What a miss. What a miss by Mohamed Salah there. Overplaying in the middle of the pitch for Fulham. Sessegnon taking a ridiculous chance. Mane just slipping in. Salah at the final hurdle, and he scores them. He scores them with his eyes shut most weeks. He's been truly well off form today, Alex.
Could be all over in the FA Cup game. Millwall 2, Brighton 0 now. The Championship side surely heading through to the semi-finals. Aidan O'Brien has got their second goal. What a story developing.
Yeah. Brilliant for Neil Harris and his team. Those over at the Den there will be absolutely delighted with that result at the moment.
Up for grabs for someone, isn't it? A place in the FA Cup final. Watford, Wolves and Millwall.
Yeah, the FA
Manchester
Cup,
City in the draw.
Absolutely, the FA Cup seems to be, changing, and the priorities keep shifting year in, year out. They really do, and opportunities for the Championship sides.
Here is Wijnaldum for Liverpool. They made a very early exit in that competition. So too did Fulham, beaten by Oldham in round 3. Really sums up their season, but they have made a fist of it in this second half, no question about it. Liverpool have been in the game. Couldn't really have said that after the opening 45 minutes. Origi miscontrols the ball, but it's picked up by Milner inside the centre circle. 2 minutes remaining, 2-1 Liverpool lead. Milner to Alexander-Arnold, first time cross. Again, the goalkeeper should have been commanding there. Tim Reen couldn't take the chance and clears into the stands.
These two centre-halves for Fulham have got no confidence in the goalkeeper whatsoever. They really haven't. They're playing their own game, and rightly so. They've done well this afternoon with 3 of the most prominent attacking players in the Premier League. Fair credit to the two centre-halves for Fulham, but the goalkeeper has really not helped them out.
Here's Salah in the penalty area. Shoots left-footed, trying to curl one towards the top corner, but it was always rising. He's been off colour today, Mohamed Salah, no question about that. His players has been as ragged as his hairline.
Yeah, he's been well off the heights that he set himself. I think when you set yourself them heights like he has done over the past couple of years, you do have little dips. The good thing about it is
here's Sessegnon. He's beat the offside trap, looking for Mitrovic in the middle. Liverpool clear it with Robertson. And here's Origi, looking for the killer third goal. He's up against Callum Chambers. Origi's got bags of pace, but never really looked confident in his own ability there. And the ball cannons off Origi and through to the goalkeeper Rico. Then Van Dijk beats Mitrovic in the air. And here is Milner just inside the Fulham half. He's going to play it out here because Mitrovic has stayed down. I'm sure Fulham needed him to. The former Newcastle man just landed awkwardly as he went up for the aerial challenge. Let's have a look at some of the tweets we've been receiving in this second half. Richard Pincher says Milner getting Liverpool out of the soft and smelly. Virgil van Dijk, a relieved man. We're into 3 added minutes, by the way, at the end of the game. Liverpool will not kill me if any medic check my blood pressure after the Babel goal. I would be advised to have a bed rest. Thank God I'm not watching, but you are listening to us here on TalkSport Live. That's from glory of Anfield Road. At the moment it's going to be another glory afternoon for Liverpool, but my word, they made hard work of it in this second half. Van Dijk casually rolls the ball forward to Robertson. Mitrovic now fully recovered. Robertson's passed it straight out of play for a goal kick, which Rico will take in front of those Liverpool fans. Jurgen Klopp far from happy with his fallback on that occasion.
Yeah, he'll be slightly disappointed with his team this afternoon. Obviously, if this scoreline stays the same, delighted with a win.
Here's Salah now into the penalty area. Finds Wijnaldum in the box. Another excellent challenge by Brian this time, sliding in, but Wijnaldum still come away with the ball. Reed for company. Defended well again here, Fulham. Still Wijnaldum, then he's challenged by Ream. Crossed towards the far post by Alexander-Arnold, but free kick had been awarded for a foul. So Fulham will take it down by the left corner flag. Ream felt the force of the challenge. Some discomfort there, Tim Ream, as he gets back to his feet. Liverpool are going to make a change, more to run down the clock, I think, than anything else. Daniel Sturridge coming on for forlorn-looking Mohamed Salah.
Yeah, he's walking. Body language has really been poor this afternoon for Mo Salah. We know he's a top player, of course he is. Whether or not the midweek exertions have took it out of him, but he would have been hoping to score his goal here at Craven Cottage, and he hasn't, and he'll be disappointed. But you can hear the background, the Liverpool fans absolutely cherish him. They love him. You'll get through it.
On this day a year ago, Mohamed Salah scored 4 times in a win against Watford, but unable to hit those heights this afternoon. Does look as if he'll be on the winning team though. 2-1 Liverpool lead. We are deep into added on time at the end of the game as the rain begins to fall again at Craven Cottage, and Milner has been brought down by Christie. So a free kick for Liverpool and a chance to waste more valuable seconds.
Yeah, you just got to kill the game when it's like this. Nearly 93 minutes gone in the game, and one of the most experienced players on the pitch, Milner, perhaps just testing the ref here and staying down longer than perhaps the average player would. And what a great signing he's been for Liverpool, you know. So reliable, so reliable.
James Milner, who scored 13 of his last 14 penalties. His spot kick in this second half at the moment is going to be the difference, unless Fulham can equalise for a second time late on. But Brian's conceded another free kick. He's going to be booked for his efforts as well. A foul on Mano on the touchline, and that may just be that, Sean Derrick.
Yeah, I think it's right. Yeah, it's been a really encouraging second half performance for Scott Parker's team. You know, it's given just a little bit of hope for the rest of the season. They've got to play with that energy. Like we've seen, first half they were flat, they were too deep, they didn't really want to come out of their slots. Perhaps it was a game plan by Scott and his coaching team to do that, but they've grown into the game. And these Fulham faithful will want to see that for the remaining part of the season.
All over at Craven Cottage. Liverpool are going back to the top of the table. And if the mark of champions is managing to grind out victory when you aren't at your best, they may well be hoisting the famous trophy aloft come May. It was all plain sailing at half-time. Sadio Mane getting his customary goal to give Liverpool a 1-0 lead. It was cancelled out after a calamitous error from Virgil van Dijk afforded Ryan Babel the simplest of finishes. But James Milner, off the bench, won the game from the penalty spot after Mane had been inexplicably brought down by Sergio Rico, the Fulham goalkeeper. Full time at a sodden Craven Cottage. Fulham 1, Liverpool 2. Robertson hurdles the challenge from Fosu Mensah into the penalty area. Plenty of options in red, and he's passed it straight into the gloves of a grateful Sergio Rico. Here is Mane now into the Fulham penalty area. Finds Firmino on the byline, cuts it back, and Sadio Mane gives Liverpool the lead. They went through the Fulham defence like a knife through butter, and there was Sadio Mane to score his 11th goal in his last 12 matches. Cleared again by Liverpool, only as far as on Giza, who drives one in. Good save down low to his right by Alisson. Right-footed in-swinger on a header onto the crossbar. Sadio Mane almost helping himself to goal number 2 of the afternoon. What a mistake by Van Dijk, has played in Babel, and Virgil van Dijk has gifted Fulham the equaliser, and it's Ryan Babel against his former club. He refuses to celebrate, but he may just have put a dagger through the heart of Liverpool's Premier League title hopes. Ball chipped into the box. Salah in some space at the far post, goes for goal. Oh, it's dropped by Rico, and then he's pulled Mane to the ground, and it's a penalty for Liverpool. Here comes Milner, and it's a captain's goal for Liverpool. It could be a huge one come the end of the season. Yeah, Liverpool victorious in the end. They open up a 2-point lead over Manchester City at the top of the Premier League table. The champions do have a game in hand, but come the end of the season, Sean Derry, how crucial could that James Milner penalty prove to be?
Oh, massive here this afternoon for sure, absolutely. I mean, we saw the slip of Steven Gerrard a few years ago, expecting history to repeat itself once again, but brilliant penalty, kept his nerve. Disappointing for Fulham and the second half performance that Scott Parker's team gave him. The one thing that worries me is the form of Salah, I've got to say. At this moment in time, when you're looking for the remaining games of the season to be played, you want all your forwards to be on form. I look at Manchester City and I look at last night's performance and the impact that Aguero gave them when they came on as sub as 2-0 down, and then I just think that is just slightly off. He's not the Salah that we've seen the last couple of years, and is that going to be the difference? Who knows? But here this afternoon, major 3 points for Liverpool on a day where they didn't particularly play well.
What type of reaction would you expect from Jurgen Klopp? Will he praise his players for getting the job done when they're not at their best, or will he maybe put a bit of a rocket up them and say, look, we've got to play better than that, boys?
Well, I think he'll be expecting a little bit more quality in the final third, you know, and when you play against one of the top teams like Liverpool, and if you're down there and you encounter one of the bottom 6, bottom 8, you've got to earn the right to even score against these teams, because what they do is they drop off really deep. And I thought in the first half, particularly today, the wide players, you know, the Robertsons, the Trent Alexander-Arnolds, their quality was missing. And if you're carrying 2 or 3 players, and I thought Liverpool did in the first half, you're going to encounter problems. Whether he gives them a rocket, only he knows his players. I mean, they've had an outstanding season, still in, you know, major competitions, right to the very end. So I don't think you'll be too critical of them.
And in terms of Fulham, it's another significant blow to their hopes of staying up. I mean, you'd have to be the most optimistic of Cottager to think they've got any chance now, but that performance, particularly in the second half, will give them hope for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Scott Parker will be somehow trying to look at the positives of today's game. First half they were poor, didn't really contribute to the game, it was all about Liverpool. But second half was completely different. They really were, they threw a little bit of caution to the wind, they got a few more players in the final third, they caused Liverpool problems, obviously put pressure on major players like Virgil van Dijk to even make some slight mistakes. But ultimately, the goalkeepers cost him this afternoon.
Talk about late drama. Millwall 2, Brighton 2 now in the FA Cup after a bad mistake in the last minute from the Millwall goalkeeper. That match looks like it's going to be heading into extra time. Solly March has equalised for the Premier League side in the 95th minute.
And that has just been the story of this weekend's football, hasn't it? You never can say never in football. I mean, at any level, you really can't. But we've seen it in the Premier League, FA Cup, quarter-finals. It's amazing how you can just turn on a head. One mistake we've seen this afternoon, and that could have been costly for Liverpool, not just for today, but for the whole season. But they kept going in, they got that winner, and that's why we love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Quick word on the next game we've got to come. Everton against Chelsea. Big game for Chelsea in terms of their top four aspirations.
Absolutely. I actually think it's a bigger game for Everton, because I think if they don't get anything out of this afternoon's game, the pressure mounts on Marco Silva.
Yeah?
I really do, because I can't see that there's been major improvements made there. You go on about, there's been many pundits talk about, the pros and cons of Sam Allardyce. But what difference has he made to Everton? Yeah, they might be a little bit more pleasing on the eye at times, but they've been an absolute calamity at defending set plays. And unfortunately, whether you're playing the Premier League or at League Two, that's where a lot of the goals are scored, and they've been costly for Everton this season.
Absolutely. Sean, thanks for your company this afternoon. Really enjoyed it. Good luck for you and Oxford for the rest of the season. While it was an emotional roller coaster for Liverpool in the second half, but they got the job done. Just James Milner with a late penalty to make it Fulham 1, Liverpool 2, Everton against Chelsea on the way very shortly. You are listening to Premier League Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much. Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2.
Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance. Vardy goal. Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal! It's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
He's put down the dumbbells and has turned up here for the show. Chris Iwelumo is on the preview show. A Premier League winner, Paul Parker, joins us on the Premier League preview show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
Premier League Live with Talk Sport.
This is the golden chance, and Marcus Rashford doesn't need a second invitation.
The only way to listen to the world's most exciting league outside the UK and Ireland.
It's a big chance here for West Ham, and they've got the equalising goal. A brilliant free kick right off the training ground.
We've got every single goal, every single weekend of the season.
Son to shoot, goal! Tottenham Hotspur have broken through.
English football at its finest.
Square pass to Kante, and now a brilliant finish from Gonzalo Higuain.
Premier League Live with Talk Sport.
A very good afternoon. You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Everton against Chelsea from Goodison Park. I'm your host, John Anderson. Alongside me is the former Everton and Stoke goalkeeper, Steve Simonsen. This is Premier League Live. Welcome along wherever you're listening to us. Well, with none of their three rivals for Champions League places in top-flight action this weekend, Chelsea have the ideal opportunity here to reinforce their bid for a top-four finish. A win would take them above Manchester United, level with Arsenal, and within just a point of Tottenham, who are currently third. After a disappointing February, which featured a League Cup final loss, exit from the FA Cup, and a record 6-0 thrashing at Manchester City, Maurizio Sarri's side have steadied the ship. They've taken 7 points from their last three Premier League fixtures and made impressive progress into the quarter-finals of the Europa League. Meanwhile, Everton's wretched season took another dip as they surrendered a 2-goal lead to lose at Newcastle last time out, and now have just one win from their last 6 Premier League games and only one victory at Goodison Park this calendar year. Their record from the previous 17 games in this division reads 1-4, drawn 3, lost 10. Manager Marco Silva faces not only an FA disciplinary charge for his conduct at St James's Park last weekend, but also increasing impatience from the club's disappointed supporters. Well, despite losing at Newcastle, Silva makes just one change to his Everton side, and it's an enforced one at that. The on-loan central defender Kurt Zouma is ineligible against his parent club Chelsea, so Yerry Mina returns to the back four. Veteran fullback Leighton Baines is back on the bench after 6 games out injured. After fielding a much-changed side in Kiev in Europe on Thursday, Maurizio Sarri's starting lineup has a more familiar look today. Only Kepa, Antonio Rudiger, Marcus Alonso and N'Golo Kante are retained from that starting 11, so back come the likes of Eden Hazard, David Luiz, Cesar Azpilicueta and Gonzalo Higuain, who has shaken off an illness. So the two teams line up like this. Everton have Jordan Pickford in goal. The back four is Seamus Coleman, Yerry Mina, Michael Keane and Lucas Digne. Shielding them, Idrissa Gueye and Andre Gomez. The midfield three, Bernard, Gylfi Sigurdsson and Richarlison up front, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. For Chelsea, it's Kepa in goal. The back four is back to the familiar one, Cesar Azpilicueta, Antonio Rudiger, David Luiz and Marcus Alonso. Across midfield, Ross Barkley, Jorginho and N'Golo Kante, who's now the only ever present in the Premier League. And up front, Eden Hazard, Gonzalo Higuain and Pedro. I've got Steve Simonsen alongside me. When you look at the factors I mentioned, that there's quite a battle now going on. It looks like 2 Champions League places being contested by 4 clubs, and with the other 3 not playing, Chelsea have got a big chance here to really stake their claim.
Yeah, I mean, and they've had the added bonus of being able to rest players, obviously, in midweek with the Europa League exploits, and to go there and get such a good result and rest players who are ready now for the Premier League at the weekend is a huge bonus for them. So to bring back all the big hitters, they've obviously got an eye on that 4th place now, and they've got a chance. I mean, today's a big game for them. Everton are no slouches, but they're not in great form, and there's goals there to be had, I think, for Chelsea.
Yeah, and if they win, they'll have 60 points. They'd only be one behind Spurs. There'd only be 3 points separating those 4 teams. And Chelsea, to be fair to them, after getting hammered at Manchester City since then, they've done pretty well. They haven't let that setback affect them too much.
No, they haven't. I mean, a lot of teams go to Manchester City and don't come away with anything, but Chelsea did take a hammer, and then, at the time you might have thought that it might have affected them down the line, but it doesn't seem to have at all. They've obviously come away from there and regrouped, and they've got a lot of big games ahead of them in that race for the Champions League spot.
And your former club, Everton, it's just been a desperate season for them, really. I mean, once upon a time they were part of the top flight elite in English football. They're not anymore, and I suppose in some ways they're kind of stuck in a limbo, aren't they? Because they're nowhere near the big six, and yet they feel as if they should be, and they've spent a lot of money.
Well, I think in terms of the amount of money they've spent, they should be up the top end. Certainly top 7 or 8, or possibly 6. That's what the fans would be expecting with the amount of money that's been spent there. But things haven't worked out for them at all. They've had a very, very poor season. We say they're mid-table, but they're probably a little bit below that. So 12, they need a good run to finish on a good run this season. Otherwise, it's going to be it already is a poor season for them, but it could turn into an awful season, really.
Yeah, it certainly could. At the moment they're below Bournemouth, Leicester, West Ham, Watford and Wolves, who ideally you'd think as an Everton fan should be teams that they should be above, but they will climb above Bournemouth though if they do win today. Let's get the thoughts of the two managers heading into this one, an Italian and a Spaniard, Marco Silva and Maurizio Sarri.
It was a big mistake if the big frustration for us will be with the referee when we were 2-0 leading the match. Even if you were not leading the match, what you can control during one match is our job and ourselves, and of course the big frustration has to be with ourselves, and after we can move for the other situation.
I think that mentally is a very difficult match because we can undervalue the match, the opponents. I know very well that they are really very dangerous. I saw the other matches in Europa League, and they played a very good football. They played very well in the last match here against the Olympiacos.
They are really strong with that front line, with the players they have in the middle zone also. The quality, individual quality they have, and in their process also, and their quality process also. But you are here playing at Goodison, and if you have achieved the good result against them away, you are able, and with confidence you can achieve maybe better at home with our fans, with the atmosphere we expect at Goodison again. They can push us to achieve the 3 points and to try to get the 3 points more or less we gave away the last game.
It's a very dangerous match for us. We need to go on the pitch with the target to win the match, not to qualify. Otherwise we can go in trouble. So our target is to win the match, the qualification as a consequence.
Those are the thoughts of the two managers, Steve. Marco Silva, an interesting situation is developing really at Everton. They were desperate to get him, so desperate that they had to pay compensation in the end to Watford. But now, the season they've had, he's on fairly rocky ground, isn't he, at the moment?
Well, I think in terms of the amount of money he's spent and the players and the turnaround in players they've had and what they've brought into the club and what's gone out, they would be expecting a better season without a shadow of a doubt. So I would think he is on a little bit of a rocky ground. He's, it's pretty much a dead season for Everton now. They're not going to make the European places. There's very little chance of them being pulled into the relegation battle. They've got enough to be clear of that, but it's a hugely disappointing season for them. So, I would think he's looking to build a decent run up towards the end of the season and take them into next season now, because this season's a dead duck for Everton, really.
Yeah, it's been an awful season. They're below halfway. They're way below what you'd expect them to be. As for Chelsea, well, they will be fired up for this one. Fantastic win in Kiev, which is never the easiest place to go, the capital of Ukraine, where the pitch was awful on Thursday night. They won 5-0 in the Ukrainian capital for an 8-0 aggregate victory in the Europa League, and they got a fairly kind draw, if I'm not being disrespectful to their opponent, Slavia Prague. That, I think, is a very winnable tie for Chelsea, whereas Arsenal, who are also in the Europa League, drew Napoli, which, of course, is Maurizio Sarri's former club, and it looks a lot harder. By the way, we'll keep you abreast of what's happening in the FA Cup. We're in extra time there at the Den. It's Millwall 2, Brighton 2. Millwall were 2-0 up. 2 late goals from the Premier League club have driven that into extra time, and we're in the first half of extra time there. Here we're just about to get underway. It's Everton against Chelsea in the Premier League. You're listening to Premier League Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much. Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends a shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2.
Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance! Vardy goal! Leicester City, out of nowhere, have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
He's put down the dumbbells and has turned up here for the show. Chris Iwelumo is on the Preview Show. A Premier League winner, Paul Parker, joins us on the Premier League Preview Show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Everton against Chelsea from Goodison Park. I'm your host, John Anderson. Alongside me is the former Everton and Stoke City goalkeeper, Steve Simonson. This is Premier League Live. Well, Liverpool have won today against Fulham to go top of the Premier League. Everton will be looking to win themselves to end what's been a pretty dismal run for them. They haven't won their last 2 games, defeated dramatically by Newcastle a week ago. They were more impressive in holding Liverpool here 2 weeks ago, but they've only won 1 in their last 6 games. That was at struggling Cardiff. They've lost 6 of their last 9 in all competitions. Chelsea, by contrast, ended a 3-match losing away Premier League run with victory in their last away day at Fulham in early March. But they're unbeaten in 7 in all competitions, although that does include the goalless draw in the Carabao Cup final, which of course they went on to lose on penalties, but it does technically count as a draw. Good atmosphere inside Goodison Park. One thing you can never fault Everton for is the loyalty and the quality of their fans. They were holding up blue and white squares of paper to create a mosaic effect as the two teams came out. The referee this afternoon is Anthony Taylor. Chelsea are wearing a change strip to avoid a clash with Everton. They are wearing all yellow today. Chelsea, Everton, the home side, wearing, as you'd expect, blue shirts and white shorts. Just waiting for the referee to get the signal to get the game underway. Chelsea could climb as high as 4th if they were to win spectacularly well today. Even a point would take them above Manchester United into 5th. But 5th is not where they want to be. They want to finish in the top 4, and Tottenham's dreadful recent run has dragged them back into it. It's not so long ago that Tottenham Hotspur were 9 points clear of the team in 4th place. It's now 1, with 1 point from their last 4 games. Andre Gomes gets us underway at Goodison Park, where it's been cold and windy like the rest of the country. There's Ross Barkley being booed, of course, by the Evertonians, which seems a bit harsh. He was a good servant to the club, but he's playing for Chelsea now. Here's Eden Hazard trying to get something going for Chelsea on the far side. Rolls it all the way back to David Luiz, and now Barkley again. What do you make of them booing him? It seems a bit unkind. He had a good record for them, didn't he? 179 appearances for the club.
Yeah, it's a little harsh, I think, but I think it was the cloud in which he left under that's made the fans a little bit bitter. But you know what, Everton need a reaction today to a poor defeat